You're listening to GCN. Great Talk Radio starts here. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this Thursday worldwide transmission, the 13th day of June, 2013. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours. General Hamid Gul, that nobody can get on television or radio in the Western media, nobody, will be joining us because he's a listener of the show. General Hamid Gul, who ran the Afghan war with the CIA against the Russians, will be joining us from Pakistan to talk about the West now running al-Qaeda in Libya and Syria and what he thinks is behind that. Let's just say a lot of government agencies will be listening on air and on the phone line. We have to, a lot of times they try to jam the phone lines. We have to move around. Then Colonel Tony Shaffer will be joining us, who was blocked from killing bin Laden right before 9/11, about 2 months before in 2001. He is going to be coming on to give us his take on the whole NSA situation. And then I got a nice call from Dr. Pachinik this morning saying he's got the big inside scoop and his big buddies with General Alexander, the head of the NSA or head of Cyber Command. We're going to work on getting him on tomorrow or Sunday. We'll see about that. You know, last night I had dinner with my dad, and he said, you know, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't talk about me and the CIA. And I said, why? And he goes, because it sounds crazy. And I said, well, was your run-ins with them true? I mean, I saw some of it as a kid. And he said, well, yeah, but people aren't going to believe it. And I said, I don't care. General Hamid Gul's coming on. That sounds crazy. It's happening. I had MI5 and police tell me Bilderberg's going to go public to BBC. We broke it. It happened. And more, that's the issue that I have trouble with. My dad does. We all do. We can't believe how real reality is, how bizarre it is. Truth is stranger than fiction. So my dad opened up last night and said, I guess, go ahead and talk about it. He didn't sign any national security agreements about when he was one of the favorite, just because he was, you know, smart guy and friendly professors once a week when he went and taught at Baylor Dental School and Oral Surgery School. And he told me some pretty wild stuff, how they would send the CIA there because they could have bigger operating rooms. They'd have to have other CIA people there when anything medical was done to anybody. And, of course, that's on record that goes on because they could drug somebody and try to get data. So that was one reason. But then my dad and a few other professors out of a whole bunch of them there were picked to be the ones they wanted to be worked on by because they knew my dad's, I guess, family background and things, you know, goes way back. That's kind of how this works, at least in the old days, is if you went back to the start of the country, then you were like, you know, seen as safe or whatever. CIA is completely different now. It's just completely turned over to foreign corporations and globalists and has been deeply in bed with them for a long time. But he was telling me about senior CIA people coming, and that's when they tried to hire him and some of the other professors to go work in Maryland. And they said, we noticed in your college file you were into cybernetics and electrical engineering, and even did some of that in the National Science Program when you were in high school, building lasers and things. You like that? And he goes, but yeah, I have to go back to school and get an electrical engineering. No. There are shortcuts. You don't need to do that. The point is my dad's like, don't tell those stories. They sound nuts. You know, the general public won't believe it. Well, whatever. It's true, so it's told. And he said I could tell it. And I kind of babbled through it because there was parts of it he didn't want told. So that's why I was kind of bumbling around there. But just how bizarre that in the early 80s, they were already building some type of cyborg operation. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, the 13th day of June 2013. And here's what I want to do. I have got just massive amounts of key news and information. I'd like to mention some of what's coming up. And then I'd like to open the phones up for first-time callers to give us your take on all the scandals from Benghazi Gate to NSA Gate to IRS Harassment Gate to everything that we see unfolding. Will this country pull out of what's happening? And Max Kaiser predicted about a year ago that by April, late April or early May, there would be a accelerated collapse of world markets based on a implosion of the dollar. And he claims that he's now predicted somewhat accurately because it's now begun. Started last week. It's continuing. Global shares drop. Dollar slumps as rout gathers pace. I want to get him back on today or tomorrow just for like 10 minutes. Nikkei plunges 6.4, re-enters bear market. That's CNBC. We've got a bunch of news on Obamacare and the fight on that today as well. This is an Investors Business Daily. On Monday, Congressman Stockman of Texas, on this broadcast with Mike Adams, the health ranger sitting in, said that, look, in Congress, in congressional investigations, that al-Qaeda and Muslim extremists cannot be targeted by the NSA, and that it's only for the Tea Party. Well, Investors Business Daily has confirmed that with Congress. This is a big deal. I mean, not only were they always building Homeland Security for the American people and to intimidate the press and to make sure good people in government can't blow the whistle and stop corruption, now they're not even saying it's pointed at al-Qaeda anymore. And that's why when I go through TSA and they want to grope me and search me and ask me if I'm a terrorist, I just go, hey, the government runs al-Qaeda. They ship in the drugs. You got a problem, sir? Yeah, I do, actually. This is all security theater to train me that I'm a prisoner. Well, let's just get you right through. Oh, we apologize. Hey, you know, those machines will give you cancer. Oh, actually, we do, yeah. Oh, can I have your autograph? I mean, because it's mass Stockholm syndrome. The TSA people are under mass Stockholm syndrome. The police are under it. The bureaucrats are under it. The population's under it. People in government are under more henpecking, micromanagement, red tape, garbage on short leashes by the government. Now, they're taught to not be on any leashes with the Constitution or Bill of Rights, but when it comes to government dominating each other, that's where it's going on. The police might as well be robots now. How they're being watched live in their squad cars more and more with these data links and audio links, and they're reviewing what they do and telling them to be more aggressive and telling them to be rude and telling them to dominate. That's the kind of stuff going on. That's the revolution in policing they're trying to push. Because the globalists have got to get things ready before they collapse everything, or there'll be a restoration of the republic. The globalists are the revolutionaries. They're the ones trying to twist society, bankrupt institutions, deindustrialize to get control. We're under a military globalist economic attack. I mean, look at this Investors Business Daily headline. Obama's snooping excludes mosque, missed Boston bombers. Oh, I guarantee you they didn't miss them. They were running them. Those guys were patsies, undoubtedly. The secret war, infiltration, sabotage, mayhem. For years, four-star General Keith Alexander has been building a secret army capable of launching devastating cyber attacks. Now it's ready to be unleashed and unleash hell. Kurt Nimmo, like 5 years ago, wrote articles about Cyber Command that's already operating. They're building giant, huge bases in San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, just around where I live. There's one down the street from my house that spies on citizens locally. Threat fusion centers everywhere, giant facility in Utah, facilities in the Ozarks. I mean, they're just building these things everywhere. It's no exaggeration in the amount of funds being spent. I saw one number of about 15 times the Manhattan Project. And they told you to fight al-Qaeda. It's actually used to shut down the internet and spy on anybody who's resisting al-Qaeda. The radical Muslim jihad brigades they use to take down their enemies. They took down the Constitution with them. They're taking down Libya and Syria, trying to take down Russia with them. They took down Serbia with them, had the Muslims attack. Serbia fought back. The West invaded, blew up the infrastructure of the country, handed it over to the Albanian Muslims and al-Qaeda. And again, I'm not anti-Serb, I'm not anti-Muslim. I'm showing you how this is done. Sure, the Serbs did atrocities, and the Croats and the Muslims did atrocities as well. In fact, about 2-to-1 against the Serbs. Sometimes I'll get in a car and somebody will say, I am Croatian, or I am Croatian Muslim, and I don't appreciate you supporting the Serbs. And I'm like, look, did you know the numbers? You know that you guys started a lot of that and actually killed about double the Serbs. Does not matter, they are pigs. And I'm like, well, I'm not a Serb, okay? I got a lot of blood in me, and I'm not Slavic. I think Slavics are great, great people, but I'm not Slavic. Okay, I don't have a dog in this fight other than justice. And you know the UN and NATO started all that and went in And they're just like, whatever. Some of what you say is good, but much of it, you're just Serbian pigs, blah, 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 blah. The point is that I'm not Arabic. I'm not Semitic. I don't have any connection to Syria. Other than Syria was democratizing and being friendly, and women weren't wearing burqas, and their standard of living was going up despite all sorts of sanctions and stuff, and they were not funding terrorism, and they have jihadis swinging by the chandeliers of their country, beheading Christians, burning down mosques, blowing up synagogues. And man, Bill Clinton's in the news today in Politico going, Bill Clinton splits with President Obama on Syria, says he's not doing enough. See how that gives Obama fake left cover? You've only given $1 billion to Al-Qaeda. You've only got howitzer attacks going out of Turkey against him. You've only got, that's not enough, Obama. And then that gives Obama cover. Oh, he's not doing enough. He's a peacenik. Let's give him a peace prize. And they got the neocons going, attack, attack. Clinton's like, I agree with John McCain. It's all, they all just sit around and go, okay, we're all going to be for the NSA spying, and Dianne Feinstein, you're going to come out against it, even though your husband's getting contracts from it in the hundreds of millions. How's that sound? And then she comes out and puts out a half-baked attempt, we need to have questions. It's all bad theater. The worst dinner theater. Have you ever gone to dinner theater, have dinner and see a play? The worst dinner theater is better than these people. They are bad actors. And I mean that as a double entendre pun. They are bad actors on every single front. They're just gangsters who want to impoverish the West so they don't ever have a political rebellion that puts them all in jail. And they write books explaining that. That's really what makes me so mad about all this, is they're blowing the engine out of the U.S. They're shutting down our power plants, our grids, paying to ship our jobs overseas. It's not just that competition with slave labor in China. You pay $21 billion to move General Motors to China. The government federalizes it with your money when it was far from going under, and then ships it to China, and it's in the back of the newspaper like a great thing. And then Obama raises the carbon price yesterday of a defunct, defeated, never passed law, and then the money literally goes to him. He has major investments in the Chicago Mercantile. Just flagrantly illegal, flagrantly ridiculous. See, there's just some of the news that I've got here in the stack today. By the way, Colonel Schaefer thought he was on at 1 o'clock Eastern today, so that's good. So we've moved Hamid Gul to 1. General Hamid Gul, and we move Schaefer to noon. So that'll be good. But I want both of them on, but I really want Gul on. So just I have to do producing live on the air because things change sometimes. Okay, fantastic. They were talking to my ear. I was giving them answers. Thank you, crew. I tell you, it's just a Twilight Zone reality here. Reality is out of control, ladies and gentlemen. And then I've got all this other news here. Jeff Duncan questions IRS gun usage. They've got thousands of agents training with M16s. And, of course, you know what the targets are. That is in the Politico article. The targets are of 5-year-old children. Not to not shoot them. They're called no hesitation. So that you do learn to shoot the children. So we've got that. And then we finally got breaking what we've been covering for years on Democracy Now! And in a Radar Online story. Government keeps a list of 8 million names considered threats to be rounded up during a civil emergency. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's going to work real well. You guys couldn't hold Baghdad, but you're going to try to arrest 8 million Americans and take us to your little summer Dachau. It isn't going to happen. But if you want to start a civil war and make yourselves all targets, be my guest. I've done everything I can to try to stop this total criminal, insane takeover. The general staff tried to tell Hitler not to invade Russia, and they still did it. And, maybe that's what it's going to take, is you guys biting off so much more than you can chew that you go a bridge too far, and then we finally get this country back. But every bone in my body wants to try to avert that. But they are training. They are training to take this country over.
Big business has discovered the preparedness market, and that makes it difficult to know where to go and who to trust. MyPatriotSupply.com is owned and operated by patriots just like you. Has the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more. MyPatriotSupply.com has old-fashioned values and the absolute best customer service in the industry. Look for the deal of the day. Unique, affordable survival supplies that fit anyone's budget. Get same-day shipping on all orders and free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927, 866-229-0927, or visit MyPatriotSupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence. Shop with a name you know and a name you can trust. Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Attention preppers, think you've got everything? Think again. You need Rescue Tape, the ultimate emergency repair tape used by the U.S. Army on trucks and tanks as part of their battle damage repair kit. Rescue Tape is 20 times stronger than duct tape. Rescue Tape repairs leaky pipes and hoses up to 500 degrees, waterproofs electrical connections, and even works right over oily, dirty surfaces. Rescue Tape belongs in every prepper's survival kit, bug out bag, and emergency kit. Get rescued or just get stuck. Learn more at rescuetape.com.
If you want to approach companies with your invention, the first step is to secure your patent rights. We are Russ Weinzimmer and Associates, a national law firm dedicated to helping you get strong protection for your invention. Already selling a product based on your invention? There may still be time to lock in your rights. Just call us at 800-621-3654 for your confidential free consultation, or visit strategicpatentlaw.com. That's strategicpatentlaw.com.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
To thank you for being a loyal listener, we have a limited time freebie offer for you. Claim your free heirloom tomato seeds, just pay shipping, right now at 123freeseeds.com. These aren't ordinary seeds. These are heirloom, non-genetically modified super seeds that are open pollinated and can be grown, harvested, and replanted endlessly. These survival seeds are actually more valuable than gold in a crisis. Go to 123freeseeds.com and you can get an airtight storage packet of 150 super seeds free while supplies last to say thank you for being a loyal listener. First come, first served. Just cover shipping. Go to 123freeseeds.com now to see if your free heirloom seeds are still available. That's 123freeseeds.com.
Federal agents, we are armed!
What would you do if you knew all the things we know? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away to...
All right, so I want to get your take on the state of the world. I want to take a lot of phone calls when I come back in the next segment. For first-time callers, it's 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. And then we've got Colonel Tony Shaffer joining us with the inside scoop on the NSA, the funding of al-Qaeda, all the big scandals. He's got a lot to break down today when he joins us. And then we've got General Hamid Gul, the former head of Pakistani intelligence, ISI, who ran the CIA covert war in Afghanistan against the Russians. He's going to be joining us to give us all the little geopolitical secrets because, I mean, I've already researched all this myself. I know Gul to be extremely accurate and to have made big announcements months before they were in the geopolitical arena publicly. So, very powerful interview with Gul set for the third hour today. I guess that'll be 11 p.m. Pakistan time. Okay, some of the other, big news I'm going to be getting into, and Schaefer's on with us. NSA spying is about intimidating the media and the American citizens. Blanket surveillance is about covering up government corruption and chilling free speech, not catching terrorists. And I should probably have Watson add to the article because I worked on it with him. It's an article by Alex Jones and Paul Joseph Watson. This Investors Business Daily article and the congressman on Monday here on the show saying exactly that. But it's now been confirmed that they will not target radical mosque even with warrantless wiretapping, but everyone else. And that's because they don't want the radical mosque being surveilled because they're running them. They're trying to get attacks going because every time there's an attack, who loses their rights? I mean, you cannot deny this. And it's the fact that we'll cover this great truth, and we're the first to do it, that I'm demonized by the entire liberal, fake, liberal authoritarian media, all the fake neocons. All of them are attacking us now because it's all coming out and we've got incredible credibility. It's coming out the government gave $1 billion to al-Qaeda. Rand Paul's saying, why are we funding al-Qaeda in the Senate floor? And he's the most popular Republican because mainline Republicans are waking up. And they know who hits the barbed wire first. Max Kaiser has an article out today that we posted on Infowars.com where it talks about shock jocks and populist politicians awakening Britain. And how the Liberty Movement's the hottest thing over there and how Liberty candidates are winning in all the major elections. I mean, I was there and the cops were all, we love you, we're awake. I mean, it's like Ceausescu's Romania, ladies and gentlemen. No one knew it was going to fall until the day it did. And most of you, again, are not recognized like I am or some other libertarian public figure is. We get overrun with supporters. Now, again, we're still a minority, maybe 30, 40%, but 5% started the war with the Brits, or they started it, but we won it, our ancestors, and then set up a new country. I'm not looking for a war. I have selfish reasons for that, but also intellectually, militarily, historically, they want to start a physical war because they've got a better chance of winning that than they do of winning a gradual, awakening, velvet revolution. A cultural revolution, but not a Maoist one. Basically the quintessential opposite, a libertarian, individually driven, but also collectively working together as individuals against the collective communist, who themselves are run by the collective crony capitalist. And that's the great oxymoron that isn't an oxymoron. It is the ultra old money that always finances command and control because that's how they centralize markets. That's where the mega wealth comes from. Then you don't have to compete. You just got to have cameras and black uniforms and citizen snitches. And we know where all this spying goes, historically. We know where it leads. So this article is very important. NSA spying is about intimidating the media and American citizens. Blanket surveillance is about covering up government corruption and chilling free speech, not catching terrorists. And then Paul Watson goes over all of the history and evidence of that. I mean, they've had all this total surveillance. Did it stop 9/11? No. Did it stop the Boston bombings? No. Then you go find out, oh, actually people at the NSA knew about the attacks of 9/11 and tried to stop it and were ordered to stand down. And what did those people listening to the phone calls hear, like Sibel Edmonds and others? They heard al-Qaeda being commanded by criminal elements of who? The CIA and private contractor corporations. The government's so big, folks, when we say the government did 9/11, criminal elements within the government that want to bring down freedom and want to have a centralized system, they run Al-Qaeda. They did it. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
You prepare by purchasing gold, food, and firearms. But if you don't have a home security system, then you're missing a critical weapon in your arsenal for home protection. When you're sleeping or away from home, who's watching out for intruders? Check out Simply Safe. It's a new do-it-yourself home security system that is completely wireless. Go to GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is independent and off the grid. It runs on battery power, so even if the grid goes down, you're protected. It's completely customizable, so you can use it in your home, business, boat, trailer, storage unit, or shed. GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is also ridiculously easy to install yourself in under 20 minutes, so there's no need to let a stranger into your home. If you move or need to relocate, you can take the system with you wherever you go. You aren't always at home, but Simply Safe will stand guard, protecting your property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, that's GetSimplySafe.com.
In the last 2 years alone, the U.S. has seen huge losses to our food supply. In 2011, storms and floods raged across the U.S., costing us $20 billion in lost crops alone. In 2012, we saw the largest drought in the country in more than 50 years. You may think out of sight, out of mind, and so you don't think you will be affected. The fact is you are. We all are. Food shortages drive prices up for everyone. You might not be able to control Mother Nature, but you can control your food prices by freezing the cost and availability of your food supply with eFoods Direct. Be prepared before you need it. With nutrient-dense food you can store for up to 25 years. You can hope for the best, but hope won't feed you. Do what I've done and get your own supply of the best storable foods out there from eFoods Direct. Call 800-409-5633 or visit them on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex and check out their spring specials. Again, that number is 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com.
For 50 years, we've told them what to eat, what to drink, what to wear. For Christ's sake, Ben, don't you understand? Americans love television. They wean their kids on it. Listen, they love game shows. They love wrestling. They love sports and violence. So what do? We give them what they want. We're number 1, Ben. That's all that counts. Believe me, I've been in the business 30 years.
Well, I haven't been in show business as long as you have, Killian. But I'm a quick learner. So I'm going to give the audience what I think they want.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance.
Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the main centers of resistance to the global crime syndicate's organized takeover. And they are trying to take us to a very bad place indeed. The toll-free number to join us, ladies and gentlemen, is 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. And it is the 13th day of June, 2013. And I'm going to your phone calls here in just a moment. But getting back to the public rollout. Now, whether these leaks are real or not, they're going to try to spin it now as a public discussion to sell us on how everything we do being tracked is for our own safety. And even if they can convince a majority of people to support this in a constitutional republic, it is still illegal. Just like if you have 51% of people saying, you know, blacks shouldn't have a right to vote or eat in a restaurant, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, common law, common sense states, no, they do have that right. And it's the same story over and over again. They're trying to sell us on this idea. But I will remind you again, what is in Investor Business Daily, that the NSA is not allowed to target Muslims. And people will say, oh, that's because Barack Obama's a secret Muslim. No, he's not. They don't want other parts of federal agencies stopping the provocateur groups that they're out there organizing to carry out events, which they then use to demonize Muslims and go after the general public's rights and liberties. It's a very simple equation. It's full spectrum dominance. They go after the American people with the terrorist threat, and they go after the countries that they blame for the terror threat with what they've manufactured, and then the globalists get to take over everything at the same time. It is elementary how they do this, and we have to get this basic understanding through our minds. And it's not my view, it's not my opinion. This whole thing is hiding in plain sight. It is now all admitted. And that is why we're being demonized. That is why we're being attacked. That is why they're going after us, because we're here going, the government's training to take on conservatives, libertarians, gun owners, and saying veterans are the new terror threat. The government's buying billions of rounds of ammo, 7,000 armored vehicles. They're setting up checkpoints. They're getting riot control police ready everywhere. They're saying that they're preparing for imminent collapse. I don't know if that's really going to happen or they're using this as an excuse to put all this in place. But regardless, it's a giant boondoggle to the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned us about. He said it will take over, and it's run by a technological elite. That's a quote. And then here we are. He said that in '61. And here we are, it's all come true. And that's why they're attacking us, because we're speaking common sense. And yeah, then I go on a BBC News show, and they got two guys cutting me off, trying to shut me up, laughing at me. So I just blew up at them and said, look, I'm not going to play this game anymore. I want to do a special piece on this from Vice magazine. Vice actually does some pretty good stories sometimes. But now that they're on mainstream television, they're getting a little bit more establishment. And I want to do a kind of like a professor piece on this to show the anatomy of a sophomoric, trendy hit piece. Of course, almost every commenter in this article, when I read it this morning, like 90+% of them are against it, saying, what's wrong with you? You're demonizing the crowd. This is done to make dissent look bad. They went and found that, you know, people out there kind of having a carnival time, maybe 5% of the thousands that came out to protest Bilderberg. And then they say no one could tell us why they were there. No one could tell us what Bilderberg was. Everyone was basically idiots. And they say it over and over and over again, lying to their audience. And you know who was really there? A famous, because it was in the news, I wish I'd have run into him, a famous 90-year-old RAF fighter ace that shot down a bunch of German aircraft over London. He was there. There were two members of Parliament, a member of the European Union Parliament giving powerful speeches. The crowd, basically about half of them looked like Irish and British and Scottish farmers. There were a lot of Scots that, you know, came down. There was a group of Scots that actually walked in, because that's like a cultural thing to walk 400, 500 miles. They walked into London to be there. Just an amazing group of people. And they went around and found every person that was there to have a good time and acting goofy. So what? So what? Well, you should go protest and cover things and make it fun. I mean, I don't judge people because they got tattoos on their faces or, you know, or they're, you know, offering, you know, people, massages or whatever, but that was the small minority. And they distort it and make a sick joke out of it. And the good news is people got angry at it. But then, they ask, well, what is Bilderberg? Why does it matter? And Alex claims they're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. Why would they want to do that? And nothing he said was coherent. Really? We have a history of Western governments doing thousands of declassified lethal test programs, nerve gassing troops, putting syphilis in people's vaccines, just radiating foster children. And I'm up there giving a speech about that and saying they're doing it now on a wide scale and holding up the London Independent from that day saying 40% of Britons will have cancer within 4 years at the current rate, National Health Service, but no discussion of why is everybody getting cancer. It's always let's find a cure. And then in the article they say, what does that mean? We should find out why everybody's getting cancer, why the rate's going up, instead of finding a cure. And the article says that makes no sense. We want to find a cure. It'd be like if 100 people a night in Austin, Texas were getting shot, saying we need to find a way to cure gunshot wounds, instead of finding out who's shooting 100 people a night. I mean, if 1,000 people a day in Chicago were being poisoned by cyanide, would you try to find a cure for cyanide poisoning? And have everybody walk around with a pack of cyanide antidote, which, by the way, there isn't one. No, you try to find out who's poisoning people. And they literally sit there acting like they don't know what I'm talking about. And then I thought about it. That's why I get mad at Piers Morgan. That's why I got mad at the BBC. When a bunch of condescending fake intellectuals are sitting there going, so you believe Bilderberg exists and you believe they have bad plans. I'm like, look, I'm done playing games. Jesus Christ went in and overturned the money changers' tables. Paul Revere rode around saying, get your guns, get ready to kill people. And we call him a hero. I'm just saying, look, I'm done with you. You just came into this promo piece saying that, oh, these people believe we're poisoning the water. They had a Bilderberg guy in the tape piece and one in studio right before I went on. I walked past him. I interviewed their Treasury Secretary, the Exchequer, the Chancellor. It's on Infowars.com. I saw people on there going, oh, really? You interviewed a Bilderberger? Yeah, right. People cannot believe that someone could stand up, that someone could resist, that someone could have success, and I'm nobody. People cannot believe anything. They can't believe we had Mike Judge on the show. They couldn't believe we interviewed Charlie Sheen. They couldn't believe we interviewed Ron Paul. They can't believe we're going to have Hamid Gul on. They can't believe we have whistleblowers because they live unexceptional lives in their basements thinking everyone else is like them and that humanity's basically done. And that's why they don't believe there can be corrupt elites, even though those corrupt elites write books about what they're doing, because they think everyone is such an incredible, pathetic, jellyfish, cynical, wannabe trendy, who are actually just scared little boys and girls sitting there criticizing the rest of us that want to build a better civilization and a better future. I mean, I've had people over the years come to my house or my parents' house and see some of my oil paintings, which I don't even think are that good. I mean, some of them are pretty good. And they go, there's no way you painted that. And I go, is that a figure of speech like your joke? No, I don't believe you painted that. You're like a redneck. I mean, how did you paint? You're from Texas. You people can't even, wipe your noses. I mean, I just don't get like the yuppie thing where they're like all domesticated and they're scared of guns unless it's in the hands of the government, and they don't believe anything can be created or nothing can be done, and they just kind of walk around all weak, freaking out over everything and jealous of anyone who's successful. I mean, I just don't get it. I want humanity to get off its knees and stand up. I believe in humanity. I think you're beautiful. I think you're smart. I think you have a destiny. I know you do. And I just do not understand how you've bought into this idea that humanity's a bunch of crud. Yes, we can do some horrible things, true. All right, I'm done ranting. I said I'd take phone calls. We got so much news coming up. I mean, look at this. I talked about this 2 days ago, but now it's finally getting news coverage, and I heard it on a local radio station this morning, they were like, why would the cops be running federal checkpoints all over the country, not just Alabama, where you pull up to one lane and they're there at a checkpoint and say, mind if we take a blood sample? Because they've had these things before in Texas. I've driven into one where they use it to search your car. And they see the scared person. They direct people over because the public's so scared. I mean, if a cop said, take your dress off, most women would do it right there. I mean, you know. I mean, they say bend over and they put their hands inside of you now in Texas. I mean, we can show you the video, folks. And they say bend over and they take your pants off and ram their hand. You know, I mean, this is how America works now. So they say, and they sit there with needles taking your blood now, and it's a federal program, and no one knows why they're doing it. They're doing it to acclimate everyone. It's already on executive order that they're going to take blood at highway checkpoints. I covered that in my first film, 1997. People are like, well, where is it then? They haven't phased it in yet because people aren't going along with it. Just like when they start, I remember 15 years ago, I saw the city council plan with the federal document because it was on TV, on Access. You know, they carry the city channel. I watched it. And they said, we're here with this $1 million grant over the next 3 years to start big discounts and incentives for the newest above the current emission standards on the car. And they said this will be used to prepare and acclimate the public for when the new federal regulations come out. And then I went to one of the events to cover it, and they said, yes, we're here to condition the public. And just like that sounds innocuous, that's why they have helicopter drills and Army checkpoints and do all this, is to acclimate you. They're going to pull you over, and they're going to take blood from everybody, and that's the stated plan. But it's for your safety, of course. Just like the government ships the narcotics in on record for your safety. Stop being chumps. We have a Bill of Rights and Constitution for a reason, because anytime you let a government get big, corrupt groups take it over, and hell gets released. Cyber Command said 5 years ago they're going to attack news sites in the U.S. They're involved in PSYOPs. This whole thing is aimed at America, folks. The globalists have conquered America. They're not in full control yet, but they've conquered the federal government. They've got a million reasons why they're doing what they're doing, but they're carrying out Agenda 21 to bankrupt you and your family. Richard in Idaho, you're on the air. First-time caller, welcome. Go ahead, Richard. I'm not getting any audio from the network. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey, I've got a few points to make, and I got to tell you, this is no prank call. I've listened to other prank callers call, but this is not one of those. I have a couple of points that I want to make. First of all,
well, number one, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to put you on hold right now. There's a phenomenon, and we've not started call screening because I kind of like that wild card thing where people could just call in unless I'm talking about a specific topic. But I think we're going to install call screening for one reason. People want to be call screened. And they get on the show, and they do a call screen thing with me. They tell me what they want to talk about. Sir, Richard, you are on the air. Sir, I want to hear from you. Make your point. Go ahead.
So several weeks ago, you mentioned a name about a counterintelligence agent, John Loftus. I believe his name is John Christopher Loftus. He comes from Ogden, Utah, where I actually come from. I believe that he's been used to gather intel upon who I am due to the fact of who my daughter is.
Well, sir, again, you say it's not a prank call. I can't just have people come on my show and talk about a public figure saying you have connections to him. Send us a letter. You believe he's gathered intel. He's like a retired Justice Department lawyer that exposed that MI6 was involved in the London bombings on Fox News and the Associated Press, and also wrote a book about IBM and the Holocaust.
Give me a moment, please. Okay?
No, I'm not going to give you a moment. I appreciate your call. You've got to send me proof. You say you believe he's surveilling your daughter. I mean, I'm not in the business here of getting sued, okay? All right, there you go. And now I'll be a government agent because I did that. And listen, I apologize to you, caller, if you've got some proof, but I mean, this is just wild. Let's talk to Shane in Pennsylvania. Shane, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. Yeah, I just wanted to make a point about what you were saying earlier about how they're trying to force this debate now between liberty and security. And
when you give up liberty, you get tyranny. You never get the security. The insecurity is letting them do this.
Exactly. And, you know, it's kind of an uphill battle because, you know, the general public has just been conditioned to accept this. I mean, you turn on The Dark Knight and their heroes are using sonar and stuff like that to catch the bad guy.
Well, they're using the wireless system on the phone to broadcast and look through walls and pick up the thing, which is what the Kinect and the smart meter does. Exactly. Everything is conditioning.
Right. And, you know, the villain in Skyfall is just, you know, some hacker computer guy, and it's all over the place.
And the government's outgunned and doesn't even know how to open their email. The poor babies. The poor babies. Anything else you want to add? It's a great point, Shane. You want to come back and add some more?
No, I'm good. Thanks, Alex.
God bless you. Great points. Again, we don't screen calls, so we get the very best and the very worst. But, you know, it's like when callers call in and say, my name's John Doe, and sometimes people will spoof and say they're someone else. So I don't like last names on air, and I don't like saying stuff about people that you can't prove first. Okay? We'll be right back.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
Hello, this is Steve Shank. Alex and I want to thank you for the generous support of the Oklahoma food donations pouring in every day. In just 6 days, over 37,000 servings have been shipped. Your $25 and a subsidy from eFoods Direct will send a 7-day supply of food to someone in need. Please keep Oklahoma important, but we've got serious food issues. For example, the rising cost of food, especially beef, last year's worst drought in 50 years, and the mandated ethanol production has dried up the feed supply for livestock. Chinese are offering $4.7 billion to buy our largest pork producer. Find out more and get the one solution you can count on at efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633. Now get free shipping every day. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
When you need it the most, will your generator, power equipment, or vehicle be ready? Gas and diesel fuels go bad quickly when stored, and more than half of generator failures during disasters occur as a result of expired fuel. PRI Fuel Stabilizers keep your fuel fresh for when you need it most. Nuclear power stations, emergency service providers, and ships at sea rely on PRI Fuel Stabilizers. And you can too. Call 888-776-9373 or visit PRIproducts.com to find the dealer nearest you.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a silver dollar in a book explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
All right, I want to go right back to your phone calls in this segment and the next. Then Colonel Tony Shaver is going to be joining us on all the scandals, his new book, and so much more. Can't wait to pick his brain. He was involved, obviously, in the unit that could have killed bin Laden 2 separate times and was ordered to stand down by the CIA right before 9/11. Briefly, InfidelBodyArmor.com. Amazing body armor that is way better than chromatic body armor that only stops 6 rounds. This will stop hundreds of AK-47, M4, 30-06, 308, and more. InfidelBodyArmor.com, and the way it's all rigged and set up is just phenomenal, and the pricing is amazing. Rated level 3 armor, 888-608-6605, 888-608-6605, InfidelBodyArmor.com. And don't forget, we have ProPure, the best gravity-fed filters, with 10% off with promo code WATER at InfoWarsStore.com. All the books, the videos, all of it is up there at InfoWarsStore.com. When you shop with the good guys, the Patriots, it allows us to continue our operations and hopefully expand. Right now, we're at the break-even point, so funding us is more important than ever. I want to thank all of you that do support the transmission. Okay, we got some good news I haven't gotten to yet, but I'll get to this after Schaefer leaves us. Justices at the Supreme Court rule human genes cannot be patented, and that gives you some hope for sanity, and I've scanned over part of the ruling. I don't really see any loopholes in there. I mean, obviously, they go and they get blood samples and stuff. They even patent your particular genes, but also the gene for cancer of a particular type, and then try to block you from testing it. Monsanto has said you can't test those honeybees' guts, for our Roundup pesticide because we have that patented. And we have the gene mutation for the BT corn patented. So we'll sue you if you try to test for our poison. And courts have ruled for them. That's asinine. Like if they could patent cyanide, and you can't test for cyanide at the autopsy because we have that patented. You're not selling it, so you should be able to test for it. And it's just outrageous. It is outrageous. And this is some good news. This is some sanity. There's a fight between good and evil going on right now, folks. Let's talk to John in New York, first-time caller. Thanks for holding, John. Good to talk to you. How may I serve you today?
Alex, you're doing great work. I enjoy listening to you. I don't agree with everything you say, but then again, if I did, I wouldn't be thinking for myself. But I do credit you with opening my eyes to a lot of issues.
Sure, thank you.
There's a lot of talk lately about this surveillance grid that's been created, and I really think that they've been moving not just through surveillance, but I think they've even stepped it up a little bit to interference, specifically with what you're doing. I use an application on my iPhone to listen to your program over the internet when I'm driving in my car and whatnot. And when I'm home listening to your program using this one particular application, if I'm listening to it on my Wi-Fi, it works just fine. But as soon as I leave my house and go out into AT&T's coverage with their 4G, using the same program, it gets scrambled and I lose my connection and I can't listen. So I've tested this in a few ways where I listen to other radio stations or other radio programs. I'll be listening to it on my Wi-Fi. I'll drive out of range. It will stay on. It will reshuffle itself and buffer and go to either another server or it will keep playing. But whenever I try to listen to InfoWars Radio using this particular program over the AT&T network, I'm unable to.
Well, that could just be that we need to upgrade those free apps. We need people to make free apps for us. I mean, we have limited resources. We're trying to develop some new apps right now.
I'm not sure, Alex, seriously, because it works just fine when I'm within my own network, but as soon as I leave to go into AT&T's 4G network, it gets redirected to other servers.
No, what I'm saying is it may not be meshing with that system well, or who knows, they may be trying to block it.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother. Mainstream media. Government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now into hour number 2. Joining us in the next segment is Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Shaffer, to be able to break down his take on the whole NSA situation as well as his new book. Then General Hamid Gul, the former head of the Mujahideen against the Russians, can really give us an inside look at what's happening with the globalists funding al-Qaeda worldwide and what's happening currently in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And Mohammed Karzai coming out a few months ago and saying the West is actually running al-Qaeda. Of course, that's always been known, but not generally by the public, who, due to globalist propaganda, cannot even find their own state on a map, some cases, much less the planet. They don't know what a globe is. I'm not even being sarcastic. IQs are dropping very quickly under the chemical warfare operations of the globalist. Jason in Missouri, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Alex. First-time caller. I'm a victim of Katrina. It took me at least a week for the Army to show up during that time. I don't watch any reality TV because I think the Kardashians, who cares? I thought the Kardashians were some alien creature from Star Trek.
No, they force-feed you the culture they want you to think is the norm. And people just grow up believing the TV loves them and it's going to help them.
Yeah, and the point I wanted to make, sir, and I didn't want to take a lot of your time, I'm really upset about this Fourth Amendment with Obama just walking all over it,
But I thought it was a conspiracy that they were spying on us without warrants. I mean, they care about us.
Sir, this is, I cannot believe this. It's ridiculous. I mean, he should be impeached, he should be arrested, and he should be prosecuted. It's crazy.
But here's why he won't be, because this is a long-term program before Obama that is the military-industrial complex basically swallowing the internet. This NSA rollout in cybersecurity is the takeover of the internet, the ending of the free web, and is basically beyond what the communist Chinese have done.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous. I wanted to thank you again, and I hope I get to call again sometime.
God bless you, sir. I appreciate your call. But yes, they should all be prosecuted, and Obama is pushing it. And they're pushing a lot of web-type initiatives that really kill freedom on the internet. But I just had that reawakening that we've been talking about this so long that I tend to lay out the agenda and then not go back and explain it to new listeners. The globalists are getting rid of the free internet as we know it. They are forcing all networks over their systems to control content, not just to surveil it. This has all been announced. And there are domestic CIA spying operations and psyops against the public. That's all admitted. And fake news and on and on and on. The globalists are multinational. They're waging war against everybody. D in Alabama. Go ahead. You're on the air.
I had a few points I wanted to make. One is, I think that anybody that subscribes to, supports National Public Radio, any of the print media that did not make any mention at all or have not made any mention at all of Bilderberg, the people that have, subscribed to them need to cancel their subscriptions, write to the news media or to the network and tell them that they have totally lost credibility and you will not financially support an organization that is hiding and being complicit with these criminals, these international criminals. So that's the one point I wanted to make. Another point is that anybody that's in the military that is out here helping them with their chemtrailing and their anti-life agenda that has any inkling that they are a part of a compartmentalized process that is leading to the destruction.
I tell you what, I got Colonel Schaefer coming up, but if you want to hold, I'll come back to you because you're on fire. Stay there. Don't hang up, D. We'll be right back.
Now is the perfect time to spring clean your body with Supernatural Silver, a non-toxic disinfectant for the body that can be used internally or externally. It helps the immune system by killing the bacteria, viruses, and mold that cause disease. This helps to reduce the workload of your already overworked immune system and allows the immune system to refocus its energy and recharge. Supernatural Silver can help combat over 300 different conditions, and it has the ability to kill over 143 types of bacteria, viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver's patented technology includes advanced scientific research with over 180 scientific studies conducted at independent universities, hospitals, research institutions, and nursing homes to see how Supernatural Silver can change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SILVER2013 for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
You prepare by purchasing gold, food, and firearms. But if you don't have a home security system, then you're missing a critical weapon in your arsenal for home protection. When you're sleeping or away from home, who's watching out for intruders? Check out Simply Safe. It's a new do-it-yourself home security system that is completely wireless. Go to GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is independent and off the grid. It runs on battery power, so even if the grid goes down, you're protected. It's completely customizable, so you can use it in your home, business, boat, trailer, storage unit, or shed. GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is also ridiculously easy to install yourself in under 20 minutes, so there's no need to let a stranger into your home. If you move or need to relocate, you can take the system with you wherever you go. You aren't always at home, but Simply Safe will stand guard, protecting your property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, that's GetSimplySafe.com.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now into the second hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Alex Jones. The websites are Infowars.com. And we also have Infowars Nightly News, 7 o'clock every evening. You can find that at prisonplanet.tv. We're going to go back to your calls towards the end of the hour for everybody that's holding and take some of those calls for Colonel Schaefer, because most of you are calling in on the whole Edward Snowden situation and what's happening with that. But here's Investors Business Daily reporting on what Congressman Stockman of Texas said on Monday on this broadcast, that Al-Qaeda and Muslims and radical mosques are off limits of warrantless NSA spying, but the Tea Party and the Associated Press and the American people, we are the subject of it. And what you're seeing is a total flip that I warned of 11 years ago of Homeland Security onto the American people, returning veterans, gun owners, conservatives. There was a big Boston Globe article yesterday that we wrote about saying that they're training in Boston for the militia bombing the next marathon, basically, with no proof of that. Because the enemy is the pro-lifers. The enemy is constitutionalists. I mean, that's a fact. And it's even when Democrats are out of power, the Republican leadership does not like constitutionalists. Okay, it's that simple. The checks and balances get in the way of the globalist corporate takeover and all these special interests. Now, he's got a new book out. We're going to talk about that at the bottom of the hour, and I can't wait to read it. It gets into Bohemian Grove, of all things. We're going to talk about it. But Colonel Anthony Shaffer is a Bronze Star Medal recipient and is a CIA-trained senior intelligence operations officer and reserved Army lieutenant colonel with more than 22 years of experience in the intelligence community. And I'm not going to go through his whole bio and university studies and degrees, but he could have killed bin Laden several times, was ordered to stand down by the CIA, and then he exposed Able Danger and Stratus Ivy, the programs he was in, and what was happening there. He's got the new book out, The Last Line, which is a total meltdown scenario for the U.S., worst-case scenario plan, so people can actually think about this and talk about this. What these guys do is they end up writing fiction books like Ian Fleming so they can get stuff out there. I mean, I'm sure he won't say that, but we'll see what Shaffer tells us. I can't wait to read it. The point is we ought to carry it, the InfoWars store, but it just now came out. But the point I want to get to here with him first off is that we know Sibel Edmonds came out, who was an FBI translator with NSA Communications, saying, look, elements of the CIA and contractors were in command of al-Qaeda on 9/11 and then after, and they were running drugs, guns, everything. Hamid Gul, who's coming on next hour, former head of Pakistani intelligence, led the CIA war on record against the Russians. He says the same thing. Mohammed Karzai comes out and says, look, these bombings that are happening are being basically orchestrated by corporate interests that want to keep a war going in Afghanistan. So we say it's the government. It's not really. It's elements that want no-bid contracts for a $15 million TARP that really costs $500. It's people that want to keep the gravy train going, that want to have all these wars that are not in our interest. Okay, and there's a lot of people in the government, like Colonel Shaffer, that have spoken out against it. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I've thrown out a lot here, setting the table, but I want to get into, first off, since you were on, what you make of Karzai coming out and saying that, what you make of the fact that the government has given $1 billion to al-Qaeda and al-Qaeda-affiliated groups that are leading the attack in Syria, and in the aftermath of Libya that you accurately predicted when it first started, and where this is going, and now the narrative where even Rand Paul comes out 2 weeks ago and says, in the Senate, we shouldn't be funding al-Qaeda in Syria. They can't call us conspiracy theorists anymore. Where is that going? How does it tie into Snowden? Because people I respect think that he may have been fed a line of bull, not that he's an operative of the Chinese or something, but that he's been set up by other groups, and that there's an internal agency fight going on. So I've thrown a lot out, Colonel Shaffer, but you're the guy to talk to who's had all the access to this over the years and is up there in the middle of Fox News, in the middle of the Army War College and the Pentagon. Of all those things I threw out there, what do you make of it, and where do you see this going?
Well, let's break it down little by little. I agree with Rand Paul about funding the enemy. And Alex, we've talked about this before. You know, there's a great book, well-researched by Doug Wiesing called Funding the Enemy. And he, you know, it's not one of those things. He's no conspiracy theorist. He's a researcher. And he goes through in painful detail, talks about how we, by sometimes stupidity, sometimes kind of looking the other way, go about funding the very people who are out to kill us. It's totally insane. So when you put that with everything else going on, and I really admire the way you put it there in the beginning of your introduction. Look, there's a real move afoot to really kind of make us look the other way. One of the problems, going back to Able Danger, you mentioned that, was that we were prohibited from looking at the mosques and at Muslim groups because of certain pre-9/11 concerns. And, of course, we knew then, Alex, they were using that system for command and control. They do not regard religion with the same reverence we do. They actually use it as an operational tool. And I have a severe problem with DHS within our own intelligence community, where now they're trying to basically take out any reference to radical Islamists or use anything relating to their religion as something that we should be concerned about, because clearly, I mean, there are people who are sworn to our destruction, and somehow now the focus is on conservatives. So we as Americans have to be very cognizant of that, and I agree with you on the assessment of DHS. DHS is something that I would, if I were in charge, get rid of immediately. We don't need it. We had U.S. Customs Service before. We had the FBI. We had the Immigration Nationality Service. They all functioned pretty well, not perfectly, but pretty well, without having a humongous bureaucracy known as the DHS on top of it. So we've got to be very cognizant of that. And then you mix in this illegal, essentially, amalgamation, vacuum cleaning, if you will, of information relating to U.S. citizens. Let me be clear for your audience here. 99.999% of all U.S. citizens will never be, never see, never have any contact with a terrorist. But yet somehow now it's been completely reversed. And so the fact that NSA is doing this, the fact that Snowden brought it out, I think is significant. And let me say something operationally. While I agree with Representative Sensenbrenner, I do believe he's sincere. I do believe that he is saying that the Patriot Act was never designed to do this, yet it is. Let me say something on the operational side. Having been at the cutting edge as one of the pioneers of using data mining, the way they're going about it, Alex, is ensuring failure. I don't believe for a minute Keith Alexander's comments in front of Congress yesterday that they have, quote unquote, broken up dozens of terrorist incidents. It's not possible. What they've done, they're taking probably 3 billion. Now think about that, 3 billion transactions a day. Very complex transactions, a lot of data, and yet what they're looking for is maybe 10. Maybe 10. And so what they're doing by doing it this way, by doing this vacuum cleaning of these large amounts of data, they're ensuring that they will probably never see those 10 that they actually need. And so it's totally reverse of what we did, Enable Danger. Our job, we knew, was to protect the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments to make sure that we did not violate that. And we went in with very precise guidelines of what we wanted to get. So in the essence, what we're looking at here is a government, as far as I can tell, it has completely lost track of who the enemy is. And they're overfunded. They have far more capability than the capacity than they have targets at this point. And the targets they're going after are not the ones which really threaten us.
Expanding on that, though, I mean, DHS, day one, started branding it to Tea Party, constitutionalist, you name it. And now they have removed in the manual the word Al-Qaeda and things and put in there constitutionalist, Tea Party. It's absurdist that they've gotten away with this. Where are the congressional hearings? And what do you make of the 2 billion bullets and the 7,000 armored vehicles that I see driving around Austin and the new training manuals where they're saying we're going to fight the militia, we're going to fight conservatives? Well, I guess if they try to turn it into Mao Zedong or something, I guess there will be a civil war. I mean, are the crazy leftists really imagining they're going to have like some Spanish Civil War and we're the fascists and they're going to lock us all up because you've got things like Maine Corps out now in the mainstream news with 8 million Americans listed, most of them libertarian and conservatives that have to be rounded up during an emergency? I mean, this is insane.
Oh, it's totally insane. And I can't speak to the left's philosophy on this, Alex. I have a few friends on the left, but I really don't know how they think. And the bottom line is this: the issue you bring up is very timely and important. Any civil unrest, by necessity, by tradition, is basically dealt with by the local officials. That is to say, local law enforcement first. If it becomes beyond their control, you bring in the freaking National Guard. Now, I'm a former member of the Ohio Guard, and we spent time training for both civil support regarding riots and civil support regarding natural disasters. And so I'm appalled, and I don't believe it's constitutional for FEMA to be expanding to the level it is regarding first responder type actions. Those really should be left with the state, and obviously with DHS regarding civil control. Again, I don't see how the...
And they always said they weren't doing that, and it was a conspiracy theory. Now they're in the news with command and control offices and civil unrest and taking over government. I mean, is that not completely unconstitutional?
It is. And again, it goes back to the state level, and Ken Cuccinelli is running for governor here in Virginia. And I've spoken to Ken about this. Ken is a very much a fighter against intrusion of the federal government, because Virginia, like Texas, is a very strong state. We have a very strong economy. We are considered more or less, although we're kind of going purple, I think we're still a conservative state. And these states really do say, look, we can handle things on our own. You do have a National Guard. The National Guard's mission under Title 32, the U.S. Code Title 32, is to serve as the state's militia. That is their job. So what you may be seeing here, Alex, really is a setup where you may see the federal government basically kind of trying to usurp those very capabilities which were designed to do civil unrest issues or, any...
Yeah, federal dictatorship. Colonel, I want to talk more about that and your book straight ahead. Back in just a couple of minutes with Colonel Anthony Schaefer. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com.
So, a natural disaster strikes, and out goes your power. You risk losing stored food in electric freezers and refrigerators. Your options: lose all that expensive food and medication, fire up a noisy gasoline-powered generator, or switch now to a propane or natural gas-powered refrigerator from Ben's Discount Supply. Ben'sDiscountSupply.com has a complete line of propane-powered refrigerators. Freezers in sizes ranging from a small camper cooler size up to a whopping 21 cubic foot refrigerator freezer or a 22 cubic foot deep freezer. In stock and ready to ship anywhere. Ben'sDiscountSupply.com also stocks a full line of solar-powered appliances to get you completely off the grid. Check out Ben'sDiscountSupply.com or call 800-771-7702. That's 800-771-7702. Or click Ben'sDiscountSupply.com for camping, home, or bug-out location. Bank on Ben'sDiscountSupply.com.
You prepare by purchasing gold, food, and firearms. But if you don't have a home security system, then you're missing a critical weapon in your arsenal for home protection. When you're sleeping or away from home, who's watching out for intruders? Check out Simply Safe. It's a new do-it-yourself home security system that is completely wireless. Go to GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is independent and off the grid. It runs on battery power, so even if the grid goes down, you're protected. It's completely customizable, so you can use it in your home, business, boat, trailer, storage unit, or shed. GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is also ridiculously easy to install yourself in under 20 minutes, so there's no need to let a stranger into your home. If you move or need to relocate, you can take the system with you wherever you go. You aren't always at home, but Simply Safe will stand guard, protecting your property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, that's GetSimplySafe.com.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Blockit Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com. Enhancing health and privacy.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit, then carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger, author of the best-selling book, Cancer, Step Outside the Box. I want you to know some very important information. In 1985, President Ronald Reagan requested that Carnivora be sent directly to the White House at a time when only the president could obtain this world-class healer. Now, 27 years later, Carnivora capsules are used around the world to keep people healthy. Now you can protect yourself and your loved ones in this age of superbugs with 17 naturally occurring compounds that instinctively respond to abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell. If you want to stay healthy, now's your chance to literally wake up your critical immune cells to attack harmful invaders that don't belong in your body. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY or order from Carnivora.com. That's Carnivora.com. That's 1-866-836-8735, 1-866-VENUS-FLY, or visit Carnivora.com. Protect your immune system. It's the only one you've got.
We're Back live. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, best-selling author, has a new book out. He's our guest. We'll talk about the book in the next segment. Look, what you're getting at here, studying history, studying the Constitution, 10th Amendment, Caesar crossing the Rubicon, and what was it, 40-something BC, all of this, it's basically the federal government getting on a war footing against the states and the people. And then their training manuals and all of it read like science fiction or absurdist. You know, we're going to fight the Tea Party. We're going to fight Tea Party insurrections. The Army War College, prepares for war in North Carolina and simulations with the gun owners. And if they try to confiscate the guns or do something like that, it's an illegitimate move. I don't want a civil war. I'm not naive. You're a combat veteran. I know you're not naive. Colonel Schaefer, is this not a war footing? Homeland Security is getting on, baiting and switching, saying it was for Al-Qaeda, now saying it's for us. And you were telling me off air that you're in all these different government and other meetings and that people are pretty concerned. And you were telling me that, I guess, is good news. So what can you say about my statement that there's a war footing here being prepared, a stockpiling for war, and I mean, is it legitimate? Should we turn our guns in and worship Mao Zedong?
Well, I think what we need to be cognizant of is what is the justification for both the spending and focus? I'm an intelligence officer, and generally speaking, I go with whatever the facts tell me. If the facts are the Boston bombers blow up people and they're trained or affiliated with Al-Qaeda, then I would suspect that should be our focus. I don't remember the last time that we've had a radical right conservative group blow up anything, kill anybody, or even make noises like it intends to. And so to me, the idea that veterans, and by the way, there's a trend afoot to disarm veterans. Certain veterans I know personally have been told to give up their guns if they want certain benefits. So, and I believe that's part of a larger scheme to disarm people who are considered conservative or former military. It's totally insane. So the question then becomes, if it's not based on intelligence, that is to say that the threat evaluations aren't there to justify the placement, the expenditure, and focus of strategic resources, national resources against a target, then why? Why would they be doing this? And this goes back to the IRS thing, Alex. I mean, why on earth? I don't believe for a minute. I mean, you've been around a long time. No low-level civil servant is ever going to take on their own initiative to target a specific group.
Well, they've been caught lying now. It turns out they ordered it from the highest levels, and they're persecuting the media. They're a bunch of authoritarians. I mean, if it looks like it, walks like it, quacks like it, this is what it is. So what do we do?
Well, the thing to do is be vigilant, and I would go to, Congress is the one funding all this. This is one of those grand ironies I don't think people fully understand. It's like the federal government, as part of the executive branch, can only function if it's given funding by the Congress. Congress has the power of purse. It was designed that way. So what baffles me, and I have a lot of conservative friends up on the Hill, is how somehow all this money keeps getting given to DHS and other elements of the government. And by the way, Congress is the one who writes the laws for IRS to function within, how this all happened. So really all roads, despite the bad actions of the executive branch, go back to Congress. So again, I just got to ask people, if they're really concerned, to call their congressman. Bug the heck out of them, because they're the ones who actually signed it.
Sure. What do you make of these Republicans, but also Bill Maher, the authoritarian leftist, calling for Snowden to be arrested, and he's a traitor, execute him, disappear him? That's been talked about. What do you make of, is that Congress scared that they've been part of allowing this to happen, so they're covering their butt?
I think it's part of it. I think that there needs to be some level of I think, just reckoning regarding the whole silly situation. I mean, the fact is, certain people cross the aisle on this issue. Certain people understand that what we're talking here. Let me mention one guy, Jeremy Scahill. Jeremy is on the left, but he and I have shared an interest in accountability and actually asking hard questions about why are we doing certain things. And this is where, again, the expenditures don't make sense, the focus doesn't make sense, based on the fact that we have an external threat that we know about, it's well identified, it has attacked us, it continues to try to attack us, and yet somehow we're now focusing inward. And again, this does not make sense from the threat information I'm aware of. nor the recent history of who has done attacks within the continental United States.
Folks, the book is The Last Line. You can get it at Amazon, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, and this is one I'm going to read because this is from all his intelligence understanding, a book on the real threat that could actually basically bring this country down. We're going to talk about that on the other side, but first I'm going to ask him more about the strategy of funding al-Qaeda against Syria and where he thinks that's going to go. Straight ahead on the other side. I'm Alex Jones, and this is the GCN Radio Network. GCNlive.com is the site. Infowars.com is ours.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
In the last 2 years alone, the U.S. has seen huge losses to our food supply. In 2011, storms and floods raged across the U.S., costing us $20 billion in lost crops alone. In 2012, we saw the largest drought in the country in more than 50 years. You may think out of sight, out of mind, and so you don't think you will be affected. The fact is you are. We all are. Food shortages drive prices up for everyone. You might not be able to control Mother Nature, but you can control your food prices by freezing the cost and availability of your food supply with eFoods Direct. Be prepared before you need it with nutrient-dense food you can store for up to 25 years. You can hope for the best, but hope won't feed you. Do what I've done and get your own supply of the best storable foods out there from eFoods Direct. Call 800-409-5633 or visit them on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex and check out their spring specials. Again, that number is 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
There is an increased need to support our immunity and health. At Silver Lungs, we are committed to meeting your needs by providing a full selection of silver-based products. Our most popular silver-based products are the 32-ounce Nano Silver Solutions, our 2-ounce Nano Silver Nasal Applicators, as well as our all-natural silver soaps. Just released is our 100% natural silver gel. Our new silver gel is not based on synthetic gelling agents, which quickly evaporate and leave the silver at the surface. But rather, we have formulated our silver gel using the natural skin-nourishing chemistry of aloe vera to quickly penetrate and nourish the skin, while delivering the silver more effectively. Visit www.silverlungs.com and click on our store page to find what silver-based products are best for you. That's www.silverlungs.com.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
All right, Colonel Schaefer's leaving us at 45 after. And I'm going to go to Dee and John and Walter and Jamie and Fred and everybody that's holding. Then I'm getting into some good news. Justice Department is, doing more and more because of public pressure to ferret out all the criminals and people they've hired. So there's some news on that today. People with criminal records, that's being exposed. Also, the Supreme Court justices have ruled human genes cannot be patented because they're patenting our genes and then saying we can't have treatments. They're not patenting the treatment. They're patenting the gene so that no one else could ever go do research on that gene. That's like saying, I have patented the wheel, not this particular design of a wheel. I have patented the wheel itself, so no one can ever use a wheel but the wheel I've made. It is amazing. So that's some good news. Always good to have good news. We're going to be going back to Colonel Schaefer here in just a moment. Remember, we have an online video bookstore of our own with all of the best books, the best titles, the most informative films. That's why I want to read this book and then carry it on our site. You can get the Last Line book at Amazon, other places right now, but that's the kind of stuff we carry at InfoWarsStore.com. The best water filtration systems at the lowest prices, the Life Straw, the Monofilin, best seaweed extract out there. Just amazing products at InfoWarsStore.com. Everything that I use myself that I believe in, InfoWarsStore.com. When you shop with the good guys there on the site, you fund our grassroots media operation. We're not like MSNBC that gets bailout money and stimulus money from taxpayers to fund their anti-American activities and try to shut down the First Amendment. That's even the better part about it. We're funded by people like you. So don't forget that. And also InfoWarsTeam.com. to sign up for all the longevity products at the lowest prices and get free shipping with your auto ship at InfoWarsTeam.com. You can sign up kind of like a Costco card for $10 and get even bigger discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com. And you can also become a rep for the company at InfoWarsTeam.com as well, or call 888-789-9277 to learn details, 888-789-9277, InfoWarsTeam.com, the best health products out there, bar none. All right, going back to Colonel Schaefer, I want to finish that one point and then get into your book here. What is it doing in the Pentagon? What is it doing with all your high-level sources in national security? Because I know you're in there like nobody else we talk to have it so cut and dry now that they're putting jihadis and al-Qaeda in Syria to commit war crimes, and to have Clinton pushing Obama to do even more, and then to know heat-seeking missiles have been given to al-Qaeda. What are they going to do when al-Qaeda blows up airliners with this? Take more of my liberties? I mean, are people going to go to jail? Because you told me off air, I want you to say it in your own words, that people are really waking up in government right now. What can you tell us about that?
Well, first off, there's a realization, Alex, and you can probably figure all of our options for Syria are bad. I mean, I don't want to get in the details of it getting in trouble, but there's people been fired over telling the truth to the White House, saying, look, these are the options we have, and they're all bad. And by the way, getting involved directly is just going to make things worse, you know. So the whole idea of arming these folks, and let's be honest here, there's clear evidence in my judgment that the Libya consulate that was attacked on the 9/11 anniversary was very much involved in moving, obtaining surface-to-air missiles and other arms from the Libyans and transferring it via the Turks to the rebels in Syria. I just don't think it's in our interest to be doing that sort of thing based on the fact, as you mentioned, Alex, the chances are pretty good this is all going to come back and bite us someday, as we've seen other involvement we've had other places. So I think a lot of people on the inside who really think things through understand the folly of potential foreign involvement. It's not to say we shouldn't do something to help. I think there's always things we can do to help. It's just we should not be the ones who put food down and without
yeah, but I mean, you say help. I mean, if Assad is kicked out, then the vacuum is jihadis. That's like 100 times worse.
Oh, no, hear me out on this, Alex. No, my think tank has actually said we do not want to see the central Syrian government destroyed, because the inevitable result of such destruction would be a failed state like we see in Libya. And again, as you point out, they would then have the jihadis at base of operation. No, we agree. It's just that we have, the Assad issue is something we have to deal with realistically. But no, we cannot afford to allow the central Syrian government, the thing which keeps that country together, to fall, because it will become a jihadi safe haven. And as bad as it is in Libya, I believe the consequences of Syria falling will be far worse.
Well, look at the new video out of the president of Egypt in a meeting with the top ministers talking about how they're going to attack America and Israel. I mean, come on. The military-industrial complex wants to sell weapons, and they're putting the next phase of crazies in so we can have wars with everybody, and I can pay for it, and you can pay for it. And then the country goes bankrupt. But why do the military-industrial complex care? They'll just sell weapons to somebody else.
Well, and I work with the Pentagon budget group that looks at spending. And Alex, let me tell you something. Larry Korb and I were in a panel on Capitol Hill late last week, and it was packed with staff who actually did want to take on a serious look at how we can cut the defense budget, because, as you point out, I think there's a propensity to jump in to do things without regard what we're trying to achieve, what's going to cost us, and how much will this, any military action actually benefit the American citizen. So I think this is something we ought to be concerned about, is that, we need to step back from the over-reliance and overuse of military force to achieve often dubious national security objectives, which cannot be linked to a larger long-term global strategy.
Wow, we've only got about 6 minutes left with Colonel Schaefer. Let's get into the last line. Tell us as much as you can. You were telling me that, obviously there's a lot of stuff you can't get into in a nonfiction book because of national security, but you were telling me off air that this is pretty much well, what can you tell us about this?
Well, it's a worst-case scenario. The last line it focuses on the southwest border. And Bill Keith, my writing partner, is a great researcher. He's brilliant. And so what we did, and I was very reluctant to do the book, by the way. My publisher comes to me and says, hey, we want you to do fiction. It's like, and Alex, this, the book business ain't all that good. You don't make a lot of money off of it. You put a lot of time into it. So I reluctantly accepted the challenge. They gave me kind of carte blanche of what I wanted to do, and I said I want to do the southwest border. And so what we did is we actually took and did research on all the bad guys out there, basically try to figure out a baseline of who is really out there, who are truly, evil, what's going on, and we took the stuff going on and then combined it, if you will, into a compelling narrative where we basically say, what if this happens, what if this happens, to basically show that the border security, which everybody seems to be not worrying about right now, is something we should definitely be worried about. And on top of that, then, we took it's basically the way I was 20 years ago, Chris Tuller, no surprise, the main character of the book is based partially on me, and we took, since the DOD, as you know, Alex, doesn't like me talking about actual things I did, we took me about the way I was about 20 years ago, and basically have taken, my bad habits and put them into the 21st century, into this very interesting time of challenge. And then we throw a few other twists in. I will leave it to your audience to judge for themselves if we were able to accomplish a frighteningly real scenario. My friend Ralph Peters, in his blurb for it, actually calls it chillingly authentic. So I'd like to believe we achieved that. And then when you read it, we put it. We want to make the reader know what it feels like to kind of be in the main character's shoes. We want them to kind of experience.
Well, you've sold me. You've sold me on it. Give us some of the basic plot, because I know obviously you're getting into who real threats are, and I haven't read the book yet. But let me just guess. Here's the problem: if the West really does attack Iran, and if Iran is in danger of actually collapsing, the mullahs, like Hitler in their bunker, are going to pull the trigger, and they're going to trigger real terrorist sleeper cells that we know are all over Western Europe, all over the U.S. This country's totally infiltrated. The Chi-Coms might jump on board. God only knows. Now, let me guess. Is that what's in the book?
Part of it is, absolutely. We have Hezbollah doing bad things. They basically find ways. There's a reason they pretend to come do things here. They lie to the drug cartel. They co-opted the drug cartel. And then they start expanding out what they're doing in the United States. And let me add another thing. There's riots in L.A. Imagine that. Or we have other elements we just talked about earlier involved, too. So it's a potpourri of bad things happening, if you will. And again, we tell it in such a way to make people wake up.
Let me bring this up. What could 100 Special Forces trained troops do to America in one day? I know because I've studied it.
Oh, my goodness.
For people that don't know, you could go up the tops of buildings. I don't even want to get into what you can do, dumping into the air conditioning systems, what you can do with fire. I personally, I would never do this, but just studying history, it's unbelievable what sleeper cells could do.
Well, yeah, we talk about asymmetric warfare, which you've talked about before, and absolutely. So I don't want to give away the plot for everybody to right now. But let me tell you, what you talk about is in there. We actually have again very realistic, very well researched plot that is based on real fact. So we've taken things that have been in the media, we've expanded upon it. We've said, okay, if they do this, then what if they do? If they do X, then what if they do Y and Z? Where would that all go? And it ends up with a huge, set of catastrophes within the United States, which I think we do very realistically and in such a way that I think people are going to say, oh my God, that could actually happen.
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't read your book yet, but what keeps me awake at night is these criminal mega corporations who would stand to gain from an authoritarian America, who've already set up this police state grid, who would then finance terrorist groups with several layers of separation to have actual radical stage stuff as a pretext to then bring in a soft martial law from which we never emerge. And I actually see that as the real scenario of basically a false flag, but a more complex false flag with more buffers. Because when I look at the constellation of Homeland Security setups, the pre-programming, the movies, I actually see what you are talking about as a real scenario that criminal globalist elements actually allow to happen, bare minimum, to radically transform the United States. I mean, I'm sure you read Rand Corporation stuff. I mean, it's thinly veiled in there. In closing, what's your take on that?
Well, I think there are clearly, now, again, I think you'll appreciate the book because we actually do work in a conspiracy, as you're alluding to. We talk about the fact that there may be elements in our own government, and not our government. And you mentioned this earlier. It's not the government. There's elements within the government. There's people with agendas who will use the government for their own proximal reasons. And so we do talk about that. I think it is a realistic thing. I think it happens every day. Lobbying is a form of that, only done officially. I think there's other ways people manipulate the government, use the government for their own purposes. And I'm with you. I think people don't fully understand how the government can be co-opted to do things against its own people's interests if certain incentives are provided to those inside the government.
Well, the book just came out last week. I haven't read it yet, but you told me Bohemian Grove's in it, so then I kind of connected dots off the storyline because there's really only a few real scenarios, so I can't wait to read it because I know a lot of it's actually stuff that wouldn't get out there if it wasn't fiction. But in closing, give us a hint. I mean, don't give away too much because I'm going to read it about the last line with Colonel Anthony Schaefer and William H. Keith. But Bohemian Grove, are they the bad guys or something hatched in there? Or, wow.
Something hatched in there, yeah. Again, I've seen you when you did the show on the Bohemian Grove. I don't want to say it didn't influence our thinking because it did, but just be aware, as you just point out, there's certain elements of the government who may work against our own people's interests, and it's tied into the Bohemian Grove. I'll leave it at that for you to...
Unbelievable. I can't wait to have you on after I've read it. Colonel Schaefer, thank you so much for joining us. All right, there he goes, folks. Wow. Again, we set him up for the show like 2 weeks ago because I had to be out of town, and he was coming on when the book came out, and then I was quizzing him about what's in the book, and it all just clicked that he's basically telling you what they might do in this book. Pretty amazing, pretty amazing. That guy tried to kill bin Laden twice. They had him in the sights, were told not to. That's on record, and he can confirm what Sibel Edmonds brought out. And I can tell you, I've got Pentagon sources that are good people, other than Schaefer, who's also good. They know what's going on. They're not stupid. They don't like what's happening. And they really don't want to see America fall into authoritarianism and become incredibly poor and pathetic and then blamed for the New World Order, because that's the plan. And it is very exciting to see this awakening happening. He said on air there's a big awakening, but he said, I want to tell you, I'm in a lot of big meetings. Well, I'm not going to even say what he told me off air because he didn't say it was off record, but I've gotten in trouble with him particularly before on Benghazi when he said stuff to me off air but didn't say it was off record. And then I kind of said it on air, and then it got him in some trouble. So I'll just leave it at that. And that's the problem. You start talking to these people, they'll tell you stuff and won't even say it's off record. And then later they're like, hey, what are you doing saying that? That's why so many times I'm almost stuttering and gibbering here on air because I'm trying to, like, remember, okay, what can I talk about? What can I talk about? What can I say? Or somebody tells me something and says I can say it on record, but then I think, well, wait, that shouldn't be on record because that's going to get him in trouble. Like Dave Mustaine. He said all that stuff in a video interview about Obama and, staging the, shootings and stuff and a history of it. And, he was here visiting me because we're good friends. My wife's friends with his wife. And then he left. And then I just didn't even tell him. I just cut it out. And people are like, well, that's censoring. Well, I knew it would become a firestorm. And I didn't want to hurt Dave when I did the interview. So it's true. I start censoring myself because that wasn't critical to get that out. Sure, I got a bunch of visitors off of it if I would have put it out, but I didn't do it just for that. And then he went to a concert, I think in somewhere in Asia, I forget where it was. what's the big island nation? Singapore. And then he talked about it, and then it was, they tried to destroy him with it. And I just don't want to see my friends destroyed on my show. I've learned that lesson with Charlie Sheen, let me tell you. I've got videos with Charlie and just all sorts of stuff. The media would just have a national field day with it. Guess what I did? I said I got videos. I actually came across them last week, and guess what happened? There was none of it bad stuff. It was just, it would be sensational. Deleted. It's just gone. And what amazes me is that everybody's like, wow, why would you do that? That's interesting stuff with Charlie Sheen, because that's not what I'm trying to do to people. And I think that's the difference between people that want to be honorable and people that are dishonorable, is that they could care less. And I'm always amazed that people that I let into my confidence, not of anything bad I'm doing, but things that's in confidence, they use that and then distort that. And it's just the ultimate in scumminess is the point that I'm trying to get at here. And so I don't even know why I'm going off into that. It's just that spending so much of my brain power trying to not burn people is one of the most frustrating things in my life. There's just countless examples of it. And I guess being a news editor, wearing that hat, as well as a journalist, as well as a rabble-rouser, as well as a patriot, it's a lot of hats to wear. As well as businessman, researcher, ad executive, all of it. That's why I get so scatterbrained on air, is because there's a lot going on. Next segment, Dee, John, Walter, Jamie, Fred. We'll get to all of you in this segment and the next. And then we've got General Hamid Gul joining us to really go deep into who runs Al-Qaeda and more. So that's all coming up straight ahead. Don't forget, Operation Sleeping Giant is in full swing. Go to prisonplanet.tv. Get a $5.95 a month prisonplanet.tv membership to see my films, the nightly news, all of it in higher def, you name it, and get 11 memberships on the same username and passcode, and then share it with friends and family. prisonplanet.tv. Get your membership today. And if you have a membership, share it today.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Hello, this is Steve Shank. Alex and I want to thank you for the generous support of the Oklahoma food donations pouring in every day. In just 6 days, over 37,000 servings have been shipped. Your $25 and a subsidy from eFoods Direct will send a 7-day supply of food to someone in need. Please keep Oklahoma important, but we've got serious food issues. For example, the rising cost of food, especially beef, last year's worst drought in 50 years, and the mandated ethanol production has dried up the feed supply for livestock. Chinese are offering $4.7 billion to buy our largest pork producer. Find out more and get the one solution you can count on at efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633. Now get free shipping every day. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Don't throw away leftovers. Instead, throw all your leftovers, vegetable peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, pizza crusts, and more into the bokashi. If you love to garden and compost but don't like the hassle of turning a compost bin or the smell, then check out the EM Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System from Terraganics. Finally, a way to recycle all your food and plant waste safely and effectively and stop using fertilizers. The EM Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System. Rather than decomposition, the Bokashi system uses fermentation to break down waste, so it takes less time to create nutrient nutrient-dense humus for crops or gardens with no turning and no obnoxious odors. To learn more and order your bokashi online, visit Terraganics.com and click on the orange button. That's Terraganics.com, spelled Terraganix.com, or call 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Recycle all your food wastes in about 6 weeks with the Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System from Terraganics.com. Terraganics. Life's getting better.
Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me.
Jimmy Vaughn, blues legend, bringing us in.
Don't want no shackles.
He's a patriot. He hates the New World Order and loves his family. You're a new listener out there, and this show sounds shocking. You're just not looking into what we're saying. I mean, I may come off like a bull in a china cabinet sometimes, but it's because I'm upset. Again, I went on that BBC interview last Sunday, and I mean, they're making jokes about fluoride in the water, and I'm like, hey, man, cancer rates exploding aren't funny. You want to know why I blew up? They're making fun of me in a promo video coming in, and it's not that I care about being made fun of. I care about all the people they're killing. It's not funny. I mean, I take that personal, that they're hurting all these innocent people, and people are like, oh, well, thank you for caring, Alex. Caring. I mean, they're killing us on purpose. The White House science czar writes books about it, eco-science, bragging. Where are the grand juries? Where are the indictments? But it's so over the top. Like Vice Magazine writes this big comedy piece going, fluoride, fluoride. All he talks about is fluoride, and he won't explain why it's bad. Harvard studies, brain tumors, cancer, pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, bone cancer, 20-point IQ reductions. It ain't funny. But you say it's funny. And I physically get angry and have hateful thoughts. I just, I don't think that's funny. If I saw somebody at a McDonald's putting poison in somebody's drink, I'd probably break their nose. And people are like, oh, that's so... I just don't get it. I don't get laying here while we're robbed and assaulted and putting up with all this, and I'm mad. I'm not in a trance. And I realize more and more that is important. For all my failures, folks, getting angry, getting people out of their normalcy bias is the secret. And we've got to do it. Dee in Alabama, thanks for holding. I wanted to go back to you, and then we'll get to Fred and Jamie and Walter and John. We'll get to all of you. But go ahead, Dee, you're on the air.
Yeah, Alex, what I was saying was that anybody that's in the military that has any inkling that they are participating in the geoengineering, the chemtrailing, like you had that young lady that was on there that was in the military for 9 years in the Air Force from Tinker Air Force Base. If you have any thought that what you're doing is killing life here, you need to go and retire. It's not worth the money. You're killing your mother, your father, your kids.
Yeah, for those that don't know, tons a week of barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and radioactive isotopes were delivered to be added to the jet fuel to then be aerosolized and sprayed out. I mean, tons a week. Go ahead.
Right. So what I'm saying is, you're not going to when crimes against life are brought in. Ultimately, you're not going to be able to hide behind the cover and say, I was just a soldier doing my job. That's what the Nazis claimed. It's not going to fly. But if you get out now and you know, when the indictments are brought in, you say, yeah, I finally figured it out and I knew what was going on, and I decided the best thing for me to do was just to, to leave. Take my retirement, take my pension. You don't have to be a whistleblower, because if enough people leave, they won't be able to maintain this system of death and doing
I agree. I think everybody should just start whistleblowing everywhere, whether it's anonymous, not anonymous. There's plenty of ways to mail envelopes. There's plenty of ways to get stuff, go on YouTube, whatever. Crimes are being committed. If everybody just starts standing up, not just government, but if everybody starts blowing the whistle, if a citizen sees corruption that doesn't blow the whistle, it's on them. We've all got to stand up against evil everywhere, and it's a process. We will turn the tide. If not, it's going to totally take over. Well said, Dee.
say something. Okay, you see something like they want you to spy on your neighbor. When you see them doing it, then say something.
Well said. I couldn't say it as good.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Now is the perfect time to spring clean your body with Supernatural Silver, a non-toxic disinfectant for the body that can be used internally or externally. It helps the immune system by killing the bacteria, viruses, and mold that cause disease. This helps to reduce the workload of your already overworked immune system and allows the immune system to refocus its energy and recharge. Supernatural Silver can help combat over 300 different conditions, and it has the ability to kill over 143 types of bacteria, viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver's patented technology includes advanced scientific research with over 180 scientific studies conducted at independent universities, hospitals, research institutions, and nursing homes to see how Supernatural Silver can change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SILVER2013 for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother. Mainstream media. Government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Coming up in the next segment, Lieutenant General Hamid Gul, head of the Pakistani ISI and their military during the Mujahideen war with the Russians, is going to be joining us to give us all the inside secrets on how the globalists run Al-Qaeda. But right now, Walter in Michigan, thanks for holding. You're on the air, sir.
Hello, Mr. Jones. It's a pleasure to speak to you, sir.
Pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Hey, I'm going to take this in a little bit different direction. I don't go to many movies because, in my opinion, most of them are junk, and TV tends to be even worse for the most part. But I must commend you on your critique of Oblivion. For those of us who are awake, absolutely right on.
It's all about compartmentalization. It's all about becoming human. Even if you're just a program machine, it's amazing.
It was great. I actually walked out of there floating on a cloud of hope, after watching it. And I was at a show earlier in the month, and like I said, I don't go to too many, but there was an old trailer from a movie, I don't know if you heard of it, called Django. And when I saw this trailer, it absolutely made me physically ill.
Well, it's meant to create racial division, and I've studied history.
Exactly.
I actually watched it. I actually watched it to critique it, and it was so disgusting I couldn't even critique it. Number one, it's not historically accurate, and it's torture porn, and it's race war porn, and it's the globalists are desperate to play us off against each other.
Right, and all it was meant to be was psychological warfare designed to create civil unrest, and it was nothing but that. And I would not suggest anybody to go see that. Just, you know what, Alex, if there was any African Americans in the theater at the time, and there wasn't, I noticed why the trailer was playing, I would have got up and left. That's how ashamed.
No, I tell you, it's all done. Why don't they do a movie about the UN kidnapping little kids and torturing them? Why don't they do a movie? Oh, no. They want to go back 170 years and then misrepresent everything and then project it out. But, why don't they make a movie about them killing 52% of blacks before they're born? Oh, no. Let's just get everybody fighting with each other now and then attach an agenda, a big government, to prove. I mean, here's an article right here. More whites now dying, Bangor Daily News, than births. And I saw people in the comments on another article about this going, good, whites are the evil. These were white people. We all need to intermarry to get rid of the evil whites. It's just evil people. I mean, you have African tribes that kill each other because one lives on one side of the river and the other doesn't, or one worships this god and the other worships that god. It's all bull. The globalists just use something to divert and distract people, and it is a religion. Whites hating themselves is a religion, and then doing whatever government says as the referee to prove that they think they're scum. Good points, Walter. Jamie in Michigan, another call from Michigan. You're on the air.
Oh, hey, Alex. It's good to finally get a hold of you.
You got about a minute, brother.
Okay, well, I had a couple quick points I wanted to make. One is just about civil disobedience. I had to report for jury selection today. And I walk into the courthouse, and right on the courthouse there's this plaque on there. It's like upon entry, you have to empty your pockets. And I walk through. I set off the alarm, and they're like, you need to step back and empty your pockets. And I'm like, no. You ordered me here. You'll hold me, I was like, you ordered me here. And so, well, if you don't do it, you'll be held in contempt to leave. And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. You can't order me here and then have to force me to waive my Fourth Amendment. That's ridiculous. And so then, a cop walks up to me, and he's just, got his hands hitched on his belt, just walking up there bolstering to me. And they just, we just kept going back and forth, and finally I just walked out. And it's just like, they sort of try to tell me you have to comply with this plaque on your building. And I'm like, well, don't you have to
Yeah, the point is America never had this before. Why do we have it now? And now they're starting, absolutely. We're going to come right back with our guest. Stay with us. In the last 2 years alone, the U.S. has seen huge losses to our food supply. In 2011, storms and floods raged across the U.S., costing us $20 billion in lost crops alone. In 2012, we saw the largest drought in the country in more than 50 years. You may think out of sight, out of mind, and so you don't think you will be affected. The fact is you are. We all are. Food shortages drive prices up for everyone. You might not be able to control Mother Nature, but you can control your food prices by freezing the cost and availability of your food supply with eFoods Direct. Be prepared before you need it. With nutrient-dense food you can store for up to 25 years. You can hope for the best, but hope won't feed you. Do what I've done and get your own supply of the best storable foods out there from eFoods Direct. Call 800-409-5633 or visit them on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex and check out their spring specials. Again, that number is 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
You prepare by purchasing gold, food, and firearms. But if you don't have a home security system, then you're missing a critical weapon in your arsenal for home protection. When you're sleeping or away from home, who's watching out for intruders? Check out Simply Safe. It's a new do-it-yourself home security system that is completely wireless. Go to GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is independent and off the grid. It runs on battery power, so even if the grid goes down, you're protected. It's completely customizable, so you can use it in your home, business, boat, trailer, storage unit, or shed. GetSimplySafe.com. Simply Safe is also ridiculously easy to install yourself in under 20 minutes, so there's no need to let a stranger into your home. If you move or need to relocate, you can take the system with you wherever you go. You aren't always at home, but Simply Safe will stand guard, protecting your property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, that's GetSimplySafe.com.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We're now into the third hour of worldwide broadcast. I am your host, Alex Jones. The news websites are Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, and PrisonPlanet.tv. We also have Infowars Nightly News, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Mountain. And the website is InfoWarsNews.com. Every time he comes on, maybe once or twice a year, he's very gracious to do that. It's 11 o'clock at night over there in Pakistan. I get calls from CNN, Fox News, you name it, saying, how do you get General Hamid Gul on? And I guess because they're aware of the show and know that we won't distort what he's saying and it's live. They always want, of course, to tape interviews with me and stuff, and I don't do it because I've seen them distort it. So it is a big exclusive to get General Hamid Gul on the broadcast. He's a lieutenant general. Hamid Gul, a retired Pakistani army general and known for heading the ISI, Inter-Service Intelligence, Pakistan Intelligence Agency, during the Soviet-Afghan War and leading the Mujahideen to victory. And, of course, he's traveled the world and consulted here with world leaders in Europe and the United States. And the website is generalhamidgul.com. So people can check that out as well. And he has exposed the fact that Al-Qaeda, as its modern permutation show, is run by the West as a pretext to invade Pakistan, Afghanistan, to take liberties in the U.S., in Europe. And now it's never been more naked. When he was first on the broadcast 6-7 years ago, there were a bunch of national and international news stories saying, preposterous, General Gul is on that crazy Alex Jones saying Al-Qaeda is run by the West when it was founded by the West for another purpose and then turned into what it is today. And now it's in the news. Senator Paul 2 weeks ago said, we're funding Al-Qaeda in Syria. It's a crime. I had Colonel Schaefer on last hour from the Pentagon saying it's wrong, and most of the Pentagon doesn't like it, and people are being fired. And he said, but I can't say more or I'll be basically brought up on national security violation charges. But when the government's criminal, it's treason to not go public. So the point is there's a real moment of conscience here where our government, the Pentagon, the rest of it realizes that a group of globalist criminals have hijacked the country. So he's here to talk about how Mohammed Karzai has gone public and said Al-Qaeda is bombing things here at the behest of the Pentagon and the West and NATO. It's now all coming out. So how does that affect things? What does that say about the parasites that have basically gotten into the West mind and taken it over? And where does he see this going with his well-schooled and trained mind? It has a lot of gravitas. I mean, he's well-known worldwide as having a great grasp on the hidden geopolitical machinations. So without further ado, General Hamid Gul joining us from Pakistan via audio Skype. Sir, you heard me lay out some of the points there. Where do you want to go first in what I brought up, or are there other points you'd like to make?
Well, I would want to start from Syria because I think it is no more a secret that the West is supporting them. The rebels or the Al-Qaeda fighters are being supported fully. And what is more, that perhaps the chemical weapons are being used by the operators of Al-Qaeda rather than by the government of Bashar al-Assad. There is a suspicion in my mind, and there is some evidence of that because I heard some voices, and then after that those voices were choked. Obviously, the West doesn't want to get into this mess. But obviously, Karzai is the first voice who has said that Al-Qaeda is being used by the West, both in Afghanistan and in Syria. But I will go beyond that and say that they were used in Libya as well as in Tunis. In Libya now, for instance, there was a man who was heading the rebel forces in Libya, supported fully by the West. And he was the younger brother of Abu Yahya al-Libi, a famous Al-Qaeda leader who was killed here by drone attack in Pakistan. He was perhaps number 2 after Ayman al-Zawahiri in Al-Qaeda hierarchy. And I know a lot of people now who are running the government in Libya because France simply wanted to get the Libyan oil to fuel their industry, and they thought it convenient that Al-Qaeda could be used for this purpose. But I think it exposes the dichotomy, the hypocrisy in the Western mind, that on the one hand they treat Al-Qaeda as a terrorist organization and they are waging a war. And what George Bush had once described, in 60 countries this war is to go on. They have turned the world upside down. The American economy has gone overboard. It is in such quandary that I think it will take decades to come out of it, if at all it does. And it has taken away the moral high ground that America once used to enjoy. It has exposed the military might of America badly. And all this war against terrorism has actually turned upon America in a very, very big way, in a negative way. And now it is Karzai, their ally, their puppet, who is talking so openly against them. And he says that it's not only the occupation of Afghanistan, which is a bad enough crime, but I think it is also that Al-Qaeda is being used to bomb and it is being financed. Indians are fully involved in it. As far as Pakistan is concerned, I know, because each one is trying to grind their own axe, and they think that if Pakistan is somehow given the title of a failed state, then they will have a strong case to say that Pakistan must not exist, must not possess the nuclear weapons. And the Israeli lobbies and the Indian lobbies are now fully riding on the neck of the Americans, on the back of the Americans. But unfortunately, Obama has turned out to be a weakling. He has been a very weak president. He is gutless. He lacks courage. He cannot stand up to the Pentagon and its generals. He cannot stand up to the neocons. This is his problem. He can't even do a small thing like close the Guantanamo Bay camp. That prison is still there, although 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago, he promised that this would be closed. So if this is the situation, this is bad omen for America in the future and the future generations of the American people.
Now, being specific again, General Hamid Gul, Lieutenant General, former head of the ISI, former leader of the Mujahideen, with the CIA and others that were able to bring down and defeat the Soviets who were undefeated. He joins us now. When you were first on 7 years ago, but then on again last year, and many other times, you laid out what was going to happen. You pointed out they're running the bombings in Afghanistan, they're running Al-Qaeda in Pakistan, and you explained they have them bomb things, so they have an excuse to come in with drones to then bomb the villages to stir people up, to destabilize. And the non-military mind goes, well, why would people running America run Al-Qaeda? It's simple. You run Al-Qaeda as the reason to be there to control the opium and have the no-bid weapons contracts as a cash cow, which then bankrupts America, but makes these multinational corporations incredibly rich. And now that's all mainstream news. So I'd like you to speak, how big a deal is it that Mohammad Karzai, the president of Afghanistan, people that don't know, came out a few months ago and said, these bombings are done by Al-Qaeda and the West as an excuse to stay here. Now, I don't just believe him. I went and looked at the evidence. That's what it was. And that's what you've said. So what does this signify to have him going public, to have Pentagon generals being fired because they're going public? I mean, this looks like almost a collapse of this agenda because they didn't want this out in the open, General. So what does this mean geopolitically?
Well, geopolitically, it means that Americans have been completely washed out, and they, unless they quickly achieve a clean break, they will cut a very sorry figure, because I think this is an axiomatic principle of war that once you are defeated, that you must break away immediately, cut off, and run from there, scoot from there, and do so gracefully if you can. But unfortunately, the way they have chosen, because the security contractors, and there are no less than 105,000 security contractors now employed in Afghanistan. They are all the old hands of the CIA and the FBI and various other agencies and the cronies of some of the people who are running the show in America. So obviously it's big money involved for them. And then there is opium trade, which is worth more than $5 billion in raw form. 92% of the world's total raw opium market is now being provided for by the Afghan trade, opium trade, and it is happening right under their nose. And I'm afraid some of the military aircraft have been used for this purpose, because it is not possible. We know that there was a time when we used to have great hauls of these narcotics in Pakistan. But for the last 6 or 7 years, there are no big hauls of narcotics. So where are they going? Which route are they taking? Obviously, Iran they cannot use as a route. Pakistan is not being used. So what is the route? It is the aerial route which is being used. And it's going to Europe, it is going to America itself. And what a tragedy. In order to make money, they are spoiling their future conditions. This is atrocious, to say the least. And what Karzai is saying is because he's frustrated now, but he cannot reverse his status now at this stage.
Well, Lieutenant General Gould, we're going to come right back to you, sir, to finish up this bombshell thought. He's saying the only drug route is out on U.S. aircraft, the opium. That's why we're there.
Wouldn't it be nice to have one product that replaces more than 10, saving you space, time, and money? HempUSA.org has a complete full-spectrum vitamin mineral detox formulation called Micro Plant Powder Gold. Micro Plant Powder Gold contains 101 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and iodine. Has a 100-year shelf life and is a perfect addition to any storage shelter. Make Micro Plant Powder Gold your choice. Call 888-910-4367 or visit HempUSA.org today.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it led back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a silver dollar in a book explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Hi, my name is Annette, and due to menopause symptoms for nearly 2 years, I suffered severe hot flashes, which prevented me from sleeping all night. It was so hard to work because I continued all day to have the hot flashes from hell. I was exhausted and depleted. After only 3 weeks on One World Way, I have no hot flashes, and I'm sleeping normally again. I feel energized and strong. This is an amazing product.
It is a little-known fact that every single cell of your body is supposed to produce 10% of its protein content as glutathione. But due to toxicity and aging, it does not. Could glutathione be a missing factor in optimal cell function for your entire body? If you restore the optimal glutathione levels in your cells, especially your glands and organs, then as a result, your glands and organs work better. Imagine the quality of life improvement you might have. To order One World Way, call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Hi, this is Gary Cooper with Midas Resources Gold and Silver. Don't be surprised when the global elite confiscates money from your bank account one day. They have already very clearly telling you that they're going to do it. With what just happened in Cyprus serving as a blueprint for future bank bailouts, if you are concerned about keeping your money, why not consider storing your wealth in gold and silver? Call me, Gary Cooper, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 130. Together, we'll discuss your options of buying gold and silver. Again, the global elite have plans for your money, and it doesn't include you. So call me, Gary Cooper, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 130. And I will send you a booklet with 10 reasons why gold and silver could be right for you. Again, don't get caught with money in your account when the next bank bailout hits. Call me, Gary Cooper, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 130.
All right, my friends, this is a short segment, long segment coming up with Lieutenant General Hamid Gul. You have to understand, he's probably the most famous general in the last 100 years in Central Asian history, not just Pakistani history. Very successful across the board, fighting the Russians that, I don't know, probably had 20 times the firepower from some of the statistics I've seen, some cases 100 times, and was successful. And then in the last decade, while he's seen Afghanistan and Pakistan encircled and destabilized, he's been saying, why are you doing this? When he'd been an ally with the United States and the West. And what I found is, I research this stuff all the time, but I'm not a military trained man like him. He was a successful wartime general in that war, but a successful commander in the Kashmir War with India, if memory serves, in frontline combat. And when he comes on, what he says ends up happening a year, 2 years later. I mean, he's not selling you an agenda. He cares about his country. I have him on and respect him because I know he's just telling you the truth. And the truth is always the best way to go. Sure, he has a bias towards not wanting his country overthrown and their weapons stolen and destabilized. But I've looked geopolitically for my family. It's good to not have Pakistan, be turned over to a bunch of radicals. Now, this is a short segment, General, and I've taken time talking about who you are. I just want the audience to get that you know what you're talking about. So you're saying the West is there for opium and contracts. I have family in Afghanistan right now in the Army who fly around picking up contractors that are blown up all day on the side of the road. The helicopters are getting shot up. The losses are being covered up. I wasn't told that by the family. I have that from separate sources. But how bad is the route right now? And if the lobbyists are paying off the politicians to just keep people there, there's still a breaking point with, I guess, Americans and contractors hanging off skids like Saigon in the mid-'70s. I mean, where does this end as a military man who knows this region like no one else?
Alex, I think this is worse than Vietnam. I think the stakes are much higher for those people who are involved in making big money. I think there has to be a neutral commission set up by the American citizens who will probe into the properties which have been purchased recently, the waterfront properties, and a lot of money which has been accumulated in Swiss banks and elsewhere. And you have to look into it, who made all this money, the trillions of dollars which have been pilfered out of this. And that Corps of Engineers, which is a despicable thing for me as a soldier to think about, that Corps of Engineers, U.S. Corps of Engineers, is actually getting graft up to 25%. They get false receipts signed by the contractor, the road is bad which they build. The bridges are blown up on their orders. They want those bridges to be blown up so that they can be reconstructed and more money can flow into their pocket. So this has corrupted the American people, and the longer they stay, the more damaging it is going to be for the American people, for their character. A whole nation's character, once a very proud nation, it is a proud nation even today, I would say, it is one of the greatest nations. Unfortunately, what is being done to it by a handful of people who are selfish, avaricious, and they would stop at nothing to make money. So I will also comment upon the generals who fully know that this war has been lost, but even then they would not stop at sacrificing the boys and girls of their own nation for what their interests are, and because they are so arrogant, some of them are not corrupt, but they are very arrogant. They think that we cannot be defeated. But the fact is that they have been defeated very badly, and now their choice is to go out gracefully or to be disgraced and have their noses rubbed in the hard soil of Afghanistan. This is the choice on which we stand today. Unless they realize this, that we have made a mistake, and they curtail their agenda, and they do not fall under the influence of those people who want out to make money, there is going to be a embarrassment for America. Why 2014? If you have lost the war already, and it has been known since 2009 that this is an unwinnable war, then why take 5 more years? At least and yet some generals who are saying, no, we must stay on. Why do you want to stay on? Because there are contractors who are building up the bases there in Afghanistan, and they say that, well, we have been awarded the contract and we want
they're
to
still planning to stay. Absolutely. Stay there. We're going to come back and look at that in the bombshell you dropped. You're saying the West, and there's proof of some of this, is bombing our own troops as a pretext to keep them there. Unbelievable. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
A little over a year ago, I began to do a lot of research into why, even though I had a pretty good-sized meal, that I was still starving. And my research led me to a well-known fact that most of the soils that we grow our crops on here in the United States and across the industrialized world are almost completely depleted of almost all of the key minerals and trace elements that our bodies need to rebuild themselves, fight off cancer, and be healthy. I then searched out the best vitamin and mineral company out there and discovered Youngevity. The Youngevity products are designed to give you the real nutrition you need, and once you've got that, you don't have to eat as much to be satisfied. I've lost 37 pounds in 2 months, simply getting the vitamins and minerals I need. Check it out for yourself. It's incredible. Go to InfoWarsTeam.com today and order your first canister of Beyond Tangy Tangerine Complete Multivitamin Mineral Complex Dietary Supplement. That's InfoWarsTeam.com.
Now is the perfect time to spring clean your body with Supernatural Silver, a non-toxic disinfectant for the body that can be used internally or externally. It helps the immune system by killing the bacteria, viruses, and mold that cause disease. This helps to reduce the workload of your already overworked immune system and allows the immune system to refocus its energy and recharge. Supernatural Silver can help combat over 300 different conditions, and it has the ability to kill over over 143 types of bacteria, viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver's patented technology includes advanced scientific research with over 180 scientific studies conducted at independent universities, hospitals, research institutions, and nursing homes to see how Supernatural Silver can change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SILVER2013 for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're back live, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we tend to think of this as America and the West versus the Muslims, and that's how the media tries to sell it. The truth is, if you look on record, and I had Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer on earlier, who used to be part of the unit hunting bin Laden and wasn't allowed to kill him because he was a cutout. There are powerful global corporations that have made, the last number I saw was something like $7 trillion the last 11 plus years in these wars. Just unbelievable. And the ripoffs and the scams and all of it. And then I talked to family and I talked to mercenaries I know. And people, and they go, oh, I know the government, one group of it funds Al-Qaeda and some of the Taliban. And I understand, you know, now there's some of the other tribal groups. It's more of a grudge match and they're mad at people in their country. But whatever, you know, I just like to kill people. And I'm not talking about my family so much, or maybe I am. The point is they just like to fight. And I guess the Afghans like to fight too. It's their country. But this is insane. But a lot of these people have been in 2, 3, 4 tours and don't want to fight. And they're sent back, even when their foot's been blown off. They put prosthesis on them and make them go over there. And then meanwhile, these corporations sit back and make trillions of dollars of our taxpayer money. And this is immoral. Now, Mohammed Karzai comes out and says the West is blowing stuff up and funding Al-Qaeda. That's on record. But there are other tribal groups, and nobody knows them better than General Gould, who could, well, the only guy that ever could go in and manage them all and focus them against the Russians. And he pointed out, I mean, if Pakistan tried to come in and take over Afghanistan, they probably couldn't do it. And they share a lot of cultural heritage. I mean, he can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe Pakistan could. No one's ever conquered them. So there's no way the West, in my view, and the war planners really thought they could go beat these people. They just wanted to go in and have the perfect endless war because they're not thinking about American interest. They're not thinking about that. They want, why are they putting radicals in all these other countries? They want the next war. General, do you agree or disagree with what I just said? Because your audio was breaking up a bit and people may have missed it. Did I hear you correctly say that there are groups being funded to blow up contractors and troops, not just to blow, try to blow up the central government? And that, I mean, what percentage of the resistance against the West is actually being funded by the West as a pretext to stay there, from your research, General Gould?
There is, Alex, for your audience, I want to clarify one thing, that there is a genuine Al-Qaeda, there is no doubt about it. That was a reaction to what America was doing. And their own countries, which were under the tutelage of America, were actually doing. So those people came in and they had gathered in Afghanistan. That's true. But then immediately the CIA created their own Al-Qaeda, and that parallel Al-Qaeda or parallel Taliban, as far as Pakistan is concerned, they are creations of Americans themselves. And unfortunately, the British are fully involved in this. The other European countries have kept a distance, but the British and the Americans together, they have been playing this game for a long time now. But this is a very dangerous game because they know that Afghanistan has never been conquered. It has been known as a graveyard of the superpowers, and yet another superpower is getting buried there. It is still time to achieve a clean break. But unfortunately, as I said, those greedy people who are running the show and who are filling the pockets of the people who are the decision makers, they would not let them break away. while any logic, any reason, any rationale would suggest that they must go away as quickly as possible. Now, going out of Afghanistan, the only relief zone is Pakistan. They can't go towards Iran, they cannot go towards Soviet Union, the Russians, because Putin is at loggerhead with them. He is very high, and he would not allow the Northern Network, as it is called euphemistically. It's not going to work. But Pakistan is also being targeted. Why is Pakistan being destabilized on purpose when this is the only relief zone for you? This is a big question. It means only one thing, that the Israelis and the Indians, more particularly the Israelis, would never rest in peace unless Pakistan is brought to a status of a failed state, where Pakistan can be universally declared as a state which must not possess nuclear weapons. So I think American policymakers are playing in two different hands. One is the fear and ambition of America and the Indians and the Israelis, and the other is the greed of the multinationals. So these two factors put together are going to destroy the future of the American people. They will have to go back to isolation. They are using drones. As soon as our new government, after a very handsome turnout by the people, in spite of threat from the Taliban of Pakistan, that they would attack any polling station, any number of polling stations. But people of Pakistan turned out in huge numbers. And as soon as democracy was established, within 2 days, there was a drone attack, because the Prime Minister, at that time, Prime Minister-elect Nawaz Sharif had said earlier on that he would engage the Taliban in talks so that this turmoil, this bloodshed in Pakistan ends. That means America is not being friendly to the very country that they need so much for their withdrawal.
All right, well, let's be specific, General, because your audio is breaking up just a little bit. We may try to reconnect here in a moment. Joining us via audio Skype from Pakistan, Lieutenant General Hamid Gul, who headed up the victory against the Russian occupation of Afghanistan. Let me ask you this question then. Specifically, what do you expect, because you've been very accurate the last 7 years coming on, and we appreciate that. What do you now expect to happen as multinational corporations want to make all this money? The Israel lobby doesn't want you to have nuclear weapons that you already have. India, for whatever reason, has some problems with Pakistan, long-standing rivalries. Where do you expect this to go if it's on record the so-called war or occupation is failing? Then how long will this go on? How will this end? Because, as you said, they're building more bases. I don't think they're leaving in 2014. They always say they're leaving. They didn't really leave Iraq. They've got troops and bases there. I mean, how do you expect this to end? How do you expect Syria to end? How do you because it looks like the globalists are just saying, hey, let's make money, but the military knows it cannot even carry this out.
Well, as far as South Asia is concerned, I think China is the net gainer, and they are again in a quiet way. They have already got hold of the Gwadar port from Pakistan, because Pakistan was so much beleaguered and so angry with America that they handed it over to the almost for a song to the Chinese. So Chinese are going to be sitting on the gullet of the Western economy, which is because nearly 50% of the oil flows through that area, and Chinese will be right there on top of it. So Chinese are coming in, and Chinese, Pakistan and future Afghanistan together is going to be a big problem for America and the West. And their dream of reaching out to Central Asian oil reserves and the markets in the future and the mineral reserves is going to end up in a disaster. So I don't think this is possible. As far as Syria is concerned, Syria is again it is becoming a Shia-Sunni problem, unfortunately, and the people of Al-Qaeda, they are operating there, but they are not Obama is very tentative. When you are tentative in a war, which is very important for your interest, this is not going to help. That means it's a disaster. You don't know what you want to do. Your mission is not clear. So if you are not helping them, slowly, gradually, Bashar al-Assad, along with help from Hezbollah, is going to get back and take control of whole of Syria, and then Iraq will be in trouble in future. So this Middle East will remain for a while the battleground. And here the Russians have big stakes. And Russian Putin is supporting, he's sending S-300 anti-missile missiles. So this is a big development, a huge
Absolutely.
development.
So now Russia, so correct me if I'm wrong, what the globalists have done, acting against Western interest, is they're driving former ally Pakistan into the hands of the communist Chinese, which Pakistan was leery of. Your guys aren't communist, but you've been driven into their hands. And now Russia is coming in as the good guy. It's almost like the people running America want to destroy us. Because if you look at it, there's things bigger than just money. They are destroying our name. They are empowering Russia and China. And they are destroying American interests. And that's why I've been told by high-level Pentagon sources, way above Tony Shaffer, generals, former top CIA people, that they're all upset that these multinationals are doing this because geopolitically, they are really... Why are they doing this? This is insane.
Yes, indeed it is. Because I think they don't have a very clear vision. They lack the vision. They have no grand vision of the world for tomorrow. This is the problem. They are myopic and they are looking to their immediate interest, and a lot of people want personal glory, like General Petraeus, for example. He was looking for, when he was asking for surge, and he got it, 3,000 more troops in Afghanistan, which was an utter failure, which was quite because he thought that he would be able to run for the presidential election and he will get a name for himself. If these are the objectives of the top people, that means they are not looking to the interests of the nation, they are looking at their personal interests. This is selfishness of the highest order. And because of that, a lot of problems creep in, a lot of flaws in the policy making creep up.
General, again, General Hamid Gul's joining us via audio Skype. We probably should have done phone. It's better at times, worse at times, but this is such riveting information if the audience can make it all out. I mean, this what you're saying is the truth. I mean, it's not hidden. And so the Pentagon knows this, and other geopolitical strategists know this. I mean, do you think they're really going to leave in 2014 next year?
I think they will try to drag their feet, but unfortunately it is not going to happen that way, because I know as a military man, and I think those people among your audience who have had any knowledge of the military, they would understand that there are three important factors: time, space, and relative strength, which determine the outcome of any conflict on the battlefield. Now, in this particular case, if they have lost the spaces and their relative strength is reduced only to firepower, which they have, which they can initiate from anywhere, from the seas or even from America. Their B-1s and B-2s can fly out directly from America and come and bomb places. But if they want to stay here, that means they will be in fortress defense. The spaces will be in somebody else's control, a hostile population, a hostile force which is not afraid of fighting and which is not tired of fighting. Then the factor of time is very important. Afghans say that time is on our side. We possess the time and Americans possess the watch. So a factor of time is entirely on their side. So this is the issue which have to be settled militarily.
But it's like England, when they tried to occupy Scotland for 500 years, they could never do it because the people never submitted. Isn't the key resistance? And that even if people don't even have weapons, if they don't comply and just resist, you can never occupy someone.
How right you are, Alex. I am a student of military history, and there is not one example that I can quote to you where a nation has been defeated by invading armies. It is not possible. Armies defeat armies, but armies cannot defeat nations.
And that's why globalism tries to get rid of national sovereignty and nationalism, because they want to conquer us with this corporate evil. And that's all they're doing. They're picking off every nation one at a time, and they've already picked off America. But if we ever reawaken as Americans and go back to being the good guys, this evil will vanish very quickly. But if we go down this dark path, General Gould, where do you see America, England, Israel, all these countries ending? Because you can see the whole world is turning against us because we have been occupied by criminal groups.
Yes, indeed, there is a cavity inside, there's a hollowness inside, which needs to be addressed before addressing the external issues. And Obama had made that promise, and that's why he was given the Peace Prize, Nobel Prize for Peace. But unfortunately, he has not come up to the promise. So it is a receding power. The Western power is a receding power. And I think you need to go back and read Paul Kennedy once again, The Rise and Fall of the Western Power, where he described Western power as a power. It has only one way to go, and that is downhill. But that it will go downhill so fast because of the stupidity of the American leadership, nobody could have ever imagined. So it's a receding power. It is going back. It is shrinking. And I think the pendulum of power is shifting elsewhere.
And the globalists who've moved all their power bases to China, Kissinger and others, and are moving our factories there, they actually want that. And they're sucking us dry while they destroy our name, and they move to China.
I don't think there is a design behind that. They are not doing it on design. They are doing it because simply they are greedy. They want to make money. This is the problem with capitalism. And capitalism is eventually it goes on self-destruct. It destroys the very society in which it thrives, in which it flourishes, but eventually it ends up in destroying that society.
When you let criminal combines get together, what economic system do you like, General Gould?
Well, flat taxation, I think Steve Forbes at one time said, this is the economic system that we need to follow. Barter economy is one way to go. If you don't like that, then there has to be taxation, which has to be flat. 80% of taxation in America, in Pakistan, in any other country which is following the Western model or Adam Smith's model, comes from the poor people. And that's why poor are becoming poorer and rich are becoming very rich. In America, it is the worst because there are only a handful of families, probably two dozen families, which control a lot of wealth, more than half the wealth of America, or perhaps you may have even better figures about it.
So what you're saying is we need fair taxes because the billionaires are exempt and they put the taxes on the middle class, making us poor. I want you to quantify that when we come back. Final segment with General Hamid Gould. Then I'll do some overdrive to take John and other people's calls, Fred in Connecticut, Lindsay, everybody. We'll get to all of you. General Hamid Gould, final segment, amazing interview with this gentleman. You never get to hear this stuff.
Hello, this is Steve Shank. Alex and I want to thank you for the generous support of the Oklahoma food donations pouring in every day. In just 6 days, over 37,000 servings have been shipped. Your $25 and a subsidy from eFoods Direct will send a 7-day supply of food to someone in need. Please keep Oklahoma important, but we've got serious food issues. For example, the rising cost of food, especially beef, last year's worst drought in 50 years, and the mandated ethanol production has dried up the feed supply for livestock. Chinese are offering $4.7 billion to buy our largest pork producer. Find out more and get the one solution you can count on at efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633. Now get free shipping every day. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Wouldn't it be nice to have one product that replaces more than 10, saving you space, time, and money? HempUSA.org has a complete full-spectrum vitamin mineral detox formulation called Micro Plant Powder Gold. Micro Plant Powder Gold contains 101 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and iodine. Has a 100-year shelf life and is a perfect addition to any storage shelter. Make Micro Plant Powder Gold your choice. Call 888-910-4367 or visit HempUSA.org today.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a silver dollar in a book explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger, author of the best-selling book, Cancer, Step Outside the Box. I want you to know some very important information. In 1985, President Ronald Reagan requested that Carnivora be sent directly to the White House at a time when only the president could obtain this world-class healer. Now, 27 years later, Carnivora capsules are used around the world to keep people healthy. Now you can protect yourself and your loved ones in this age of superbugs with 17 naturally occurring compounds that instinctively respond to abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell. If you want to stay healthy, now's your chance to literally wake up your critical immune cells to attack harmful invaders that don't belong in your body. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY or order from carnivora.com. That's CARNIVORA.com. That's 1-866-836-8735, 1-866-VENUS-FLY, or visit carnivora.com. Protect your immune system. It's the only one you've got.
Every move you make, every breath you take, the NSA is watching you. Obama using the IRS to target Christian and conservative groups and pro-life groups. The IRS on record saying if you're a Christian, don't pray. It's just our country is being turned over to pure evil. And I was talking to General Hamid Gul about economic systems, and he was saying Islamic system. Explain to us that system, because I've seen that seen as kind of a free market. It's been described from what I've seen as a layman as kind of a capitalist system, but maybe I'm wrong. Describe to me the Islamic economic system from your perspective.
Islamic economic system has two ingredients in it. One is that there is a tax on production straight away, because you in case of crops, etc., or anything that you produce, you take in commodity or you take in cash. And then on accumulation, if you build a huge big house, then you need to pay tax on it, and to the extent that poor people can have a roof on their head. The second aspect of it is interest-free loan. But now the loan is full of interest. And can you imagine that American people can get anything they want, but they have to work, they actually get enslaved because of that. The flavor of life is lost for them. They keep on working their back off all their life in order to pay back the loan. Now that is anti-Islamic. Islam does not say that you should enslave anybody because of the fiscal system that you have created. So really there is no freedom. When you think that you actually are owned by you become the slaves of the multinationals or the big companies or the corporate...
well, I guess the Federal Reserve, to themselves, they give themselves free money, interest-free. So I guess the New World Order actually follows the Islamic system, but only for themselves.
Yes, indeed, but it has to be for the rest of the world. Now, we have to look at Western democracy also. After all, the gift of colonization was Western democracy, slave trading was Western democracy, big wars was the gift of Western democracy, and now these multinationals, they are crossing the border, they know no flag, no frontier. If China suits them, they rush off to China and start making money there and then sending things back to America. So American dollars are going on in Chinese coffers, and the Chinese, what are they doing? They are paying to the Americans in form of loans, and they are eventually going to buy all your big assets and institutions. And you will see that will happen because this is a flaw in the system.
Well,
and
General,
this system needs to be reformed.
General, I appreciate you giving us your perspective on that. Very interesting. And I look forward to having you back on in the next few months. Sometime we ought to do video Skype if we get better connection. But I hope that we can end these illegal wars and stop trying to destabilize the world, and that America can become a country again instead of a force used by multinationals to take over the planet. We pay for it. We get the blame for it. And I'm sick of it. And I hope the Pakistani people and Afghan people understand there are a lot of Americans here that are fighting, you know, to try to stop the globalists from using us for evil. And I hope the Pakistani people do realize that the West did try to help you guys against the Russians.
Yes, indeed. We do appreciate that, and we have been allies and friends of America. But unfortunately, America always decides to eventually, some dark in America tries to destroy its own friends. So this is the real tragedy. You must understand, know yourself and know your enemy, and half the problem is over. But unfortunately, they neither know their enemy nor do they know their friend.
Absolutely. That's an older saying than G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. That's an old military term, thousands of years old, and America doesn't know, and that's why we're in so much trouble. Knowing is half the battle, hence Infowars.com. General Hamid Gul, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back, folks. Stay with us. Infowars.com.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on Earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship, body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, we're going to do about 30 minutes overdrive. Some stations carry it, but if not, everybody can go to Infowars.com/show and find the free audio and video feeds there. I got a bunch of news I haven't gotten to, so I'm going to overdrive. I'm going to go to calls right now and come back, go to more calls, then into the news. Things like this. Bank robbery suspect wants NSA surveillance records for defense. Now that all the sheeple are learning this is going on, people are going to say, hey, you have records that I was on the phone when that robbery went on. So then everybody's going to want to start dialing into this, kind of like a public Google, into the whole public's activity. And this is just amazing. Spachenik thinks it's all a big psyop, and he says he knows General Alexander. I got to be honest, though. Pachenik says some really inflammatory things on air. And I know he listens. He's a very interesting guy, and I just think about, what is he going to say once he gets on air? But I'm thinking about getting him on to talk about this because he is a very interesting source. And, he went into North Korea during the whole Korean crisis thing. He's just a real character. So we've got some of that news. And I just had Hamid Gul on, which, again, I think he was overdriving on his iPhone via Skype, but most of it you could hear pretty good. It's just such important information. And I really can't find anything he's saying that, isn't true when it comes to military stuff. Here's the deal. The West is stirring up and funding radical Islamicists so they have an excuse to invade and take over the countries, to not even put good governments in, but to put worse ones in to keep the cycle going. It is hyper immoral. And they go, well, war isn't moral. We're doing this to dominate. The people doing it don't want us to have families. The globalists that have conquered us are the worst bunch in the world, is my point. I don't want to be under these Islamic regimes. I don't want to be under, some type of, totalitarian Christian government. I don't want to be under, I want to be under the Constitution. I want to be under due process and freedom. And, man, right now, we're a conquered state of the globalist. They've got the federal government. They got most of the states. They're taking over. They're trying to shut off the free internet. That's what this NSA, building all these giant bases are about, is about the new internet. That's the new conduit. The Google is part of the NSA. And I don't like being conquered. And they've come in with the corporate system so that it isn't a foreign army, because they know people always resist that. And by resisting it, not serving you food, not being your friend, not paying the taxes, militarily resisting you. There's many ways to resist, so they know to come in with Hollywood stars and glitz, and it's a psychological takeover. And I want the New World Order out of my life. I mean, much of the public is just caught in complete thrall, having no idea how much scientific manipulation they're under. And then you talk to somebody like Hamid Gul, because I'm informed about this stuff. And I know for some new listeners who may not be informed, that might have been, sounded like Martian to you, especially with the bad connection or the jumbled connection, what he was saying, but I'm listening to it, and it's just all right on. Because it's on record, they created a new Al-Qaeda on top of the old Al-Qaeda and a new Taliban. And then they went and arrested the real Taliban that wasn't really doing anything and flew the new fake Taliban out to safety into Pakistan. That was the airlift of evil. And then you just see full spectrum dominance. For someone that doesn't get this, it's like, what do you mean our government funds the terrorists? They're fighting them. No, they fund them as the reason to be in those countries. They fund them as the reason to have the black hole to spend trillions of dollars on. It's so elementary. I don't know how the public doesn't get it. Remember the famous case like 18 years ago? It was when I first got on air. I covered it. In New York City, a guy was going around with a ball-peen hammer, breaking 100 windshields a night on average. And the cops finally clicked and went, look at all these ads for windshield dings up everywhere, and staked out and caught the owner in the areas going and bashing the windshields out right under his billboards to then have people go get the windshields fixed. That's it. That's how it works. That's what it is, okay? It's real simple. Hello, I'm Alex Jones. Myself, my family, the Infowars.com team want to relay to you and your families that we are intensifying our efforts against the globalist on every front. Infowars.com is leading the fight against the technocrats. But we can't do that without your help. By getting the films, bumper stickers, and T-shirts at Infowars.com, you will wake up people in your area and support our operation as we move to the next level. We need your help to spread the word like never before. They wish to hide themselves during this tectonic battle between the forces of freedom and darkness. You are the response to the globalist technocrats and their program of global eugenics, dehumanization, and ultimate extermination. The war is here. It's an info war. The spirit of 1776 versus the mindset of 1984.
Your home alarm works after an intruder is inside your home, but real home security begins before intruders enter. Burglaries and home invasions are at an all-time high, and crime is skyrocketing in rural and suburban areas. 85% of break-ins are through a door, and police response is often greater than 20 minutes. You can't afford to wait that long. Stop burglars with police-tested and recommended Easy Armor from Armor Concepts. Easy Armor keeps intruders out, it's barely visible, and installs easily. Easy Armor reinforces a door's weak points, comes in 3 colors, and is guaranteed to stop kick-ins. Get Easy Armor now and get peace of mind. Order by calling 888-58-ARMOR. That's 888-582-7667. Or go to easyarmor.net, spelled EZARMOR.net. Special offer only available to GCN listeners. Ask about it when you call for your Easy Armor today from Armored Concepts. Ultimate door security made easy.
What's safer and cheaper than prescription drugs?
Glad you asked. The answer is Renovation Teas. Herbal remedies are much safer and much cheaper than prescription drugs. Taste great, and most importantly, herbal teas are effective and non-addictive. Renovation Tea is especially unique, and here's why. We spent years researching herbs and their beneficial properties. Renovation Teas uses only 100% organic, fair trade herbs. Our teas are blended towards specific ailments and health conditions, such as diabetes, blood pressure, anxiety, libido, detox, and much more. All Renovation Teas are formulated and hand-filled in Arkansas. Take care of yourself naturally, the way Mother Nature intended. Order Renovation Teas at renovationtea.com or call 870-784-3121. That's 870-784-3121. Renovation Teas. Renovate your health, one bag at a time.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
All right, we're in overdrive to take your phone calls. There's a lot of other breaking news as well up on Infowars.com. Congressman Peter King calls for prosecution of journalists who broke NSA snooping story. The NSA is committing felonies billions of times a day, conservatively. It's on record it's a felony. It's on record they've been caught lying. It's on record they're building a machine many times bigger than it was. It's on record that Alexander has bragged it'll be able to take over the old web, shut down free speech. It is incredible. It is outrageous that all of this is going on. And the article written by Steve Watson breaks all this down. In fact, Steve goes over it. The rep who supported terrorists calls for jailing reporters in America. And that's right, King is on record supporting the IRA. And again, folks, I support Irish freedom and independence. But if you look at the IRA the last 50 years, it was a British intelligence operation to remove the moral high ground away from the Irish people so that they could claim we have to be here because you're bombing London. Almost all of that was staged. Almost all of it. That's now mainline news in England. So King wasn't even really supporting the Irish Republican Army. He was supporting intelligence front groups against the Irish people, from my research. Again, it's more sophisticated than that, ladies and gentlemen. But once you understand the sophistication, it's all completely clear. And it's admitted. It's not just, we're saying this is our view. So it's pretty disgusting. It is pretty darn disgusting to see the persecution of the press. And I'm telling you, this whole Homeland Security thing is for the Tea Party. It's for libertarians. You got Joe Biden in private speeches saying we got to shut down the Tea Party and go after Rand Paul. Because they know Rand Paul is popular, populist, constitutional, and is going to take over the Republican Party. Freedom is sexy politically. And people want it. And a real constitutional vision will bring people together. How about everybody likes to organize into a gang? How about we organize as freedom lovers together? And stop worrying about which race or religion or color or sexual preference, all these things. Let's start becoming pro-human, pro-liberty. And anything the globalists are pushing, we know is bad. It's not a conservative or liberal issue, abortion. It's an issue of they push it to lower the population. It is done to dehumanize humanity. I don't want to go on a tirade. I said I'd go to your calls. John in Florida, thanks for holding her on the air. Welcome.
How you doing, Alex? It's great to finally get to talk to you.
Great to have you.
Listen, Alex, you came back from London, and you said we got to take this to a whole new level, and you're right. And Adam Kokesh was talking about a march on D.C. and our march. He was talking about the Second Amendment. But you know what? This thing is so much bigger than all that. We need a march on Washington, D.C., calling for the impeachment of Obama. We need to start right at the top. He's the captain of the ship. He says he doesn't know what the NSA is doing. He says he doesn't know about the IRS and what they're doing. He doesn't know anything. Well, if you're a captain and you don't know anything, then you don't need to be the captain anymore.
Well, listen, here's the issue. I don't think one march will do it, but marching locally, calling into radio, going to city council, talking about issues, resisting, speaking out in the TSA line, spreading the word about this broadcast. We've got 22,167 signatures for an article we put up last week and gave no promotion for the White House to respond to a petition for Obama to resign for illegally violating Article 1, Section 8, and, all the different things that they've done. We put it out July 7th, 2013. We did another one, too, just on the spying. We need to see the numbers on that. And it's due July 7th. It started a few weeks ago, or last week. The point is, guys, print me that and show me the InfoWars article. What I want's the InfoWars article, because what they did is they did 2 petitions, and there's one particular one that I particularly want to promote. But my point is, just print me the InfoWar, or I can pull it up, the InfoWar article, so I can give people the specifics and give them the headline to be able to find it. Go sign the petition so that the White House has to respond. Okay, and again, people say, well, it doesn't matter. It's a non-binding petition. It makes them respond and makes it a media issue. So I agree with you. We need to push, and even if Obama's just a puppet, it scares the other puppets when we hold them accountable. Go ahead.
Absolutely. See, the thing is if Obama feels the heat, and if people start calling for him to resign or calling for impeachment or whatever, all the minions under them, too, start worrying and scurrying. And that's what we need to do. And I'll tell you, as a listener, and I've only been a listener for a few months, I have felt a lot of things going on in this country were just wrong. It was all in my gut. And when I started listening to your program, it just came so alive in me. And I tell you what, I gotta read a dose of the Bible every day just to keep my temper down, and just to keep some peace when I
listen. Instead of getting angry, I hear you, brother, and thanks for the call, John. Instead of getting angry, go wake people up. Get aggressive. Every few people you wake up in numbers, that brings them down. Everybody's always looking for one magic solution, one march, one thing that can be done. And that doesn't exist. If the one film was made that hit the zeitgeist and was like an hour long and was seen by 300 million Americans and caused a total shift, kind of like Uncle Tom's Cabin or something against slavery, then maybe. But other than that, there is no silver bullet. There is no silver bullet. It's a lot of little things that lead to the collapse of the globalist. Let's go ahead and talk to Fred in Connecticut. Fred, thanks for holding. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm calling with some Sandy Hook information regarding your upcoming meeting with Dr. Steve Pieczenik.
Yes.
Okay. My sister is a social worker in that town, and she's been working very closely with Jack Pinto's family.
Sir, I have no idea what you're talking about. People call in here like they're calling, like their cousin or something about what happened in the barn. I mean, I don't.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me explain. Pieczenik is going around saying Sandy Hook never happened. What I'm here to tell your audience is that I know for a fact that it did. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm saying that you got to watch out for that guy. I do not trust him. I know for a fact that people are missed in that town and children have died, and I think it's ridiculous that he's going out, promoting George Bush and promoting the fact that he thinks that Sandy Hook never happened.
No, I hear you. I hear you, and I appreciate your call. I'm going to move quick to the other callers. I believe people were killed at Sandy Hook, and I'm on record saying that. And basically, Bloomberg and others are saying that I didn't say that. And I believe people died in the Boston bombing. Okay, I just want to be clear about all that. Let's go ahead and talk. I speak for me, and I hear you, but I'm moving quick to get to everybody. Alan in Georgia, you're on the air. Welcome, sir.
How you doing?
Good.
Got a points here. And pray, just one thing first and foremost is praise God for somebody like Hamid Gul. I would like to, give your audience a little taste of what he's all about. He's got a quote here back when I think it was 10 hours from the September 11th attack, where they were asking him, did he believe Osama bin Laden was behind it? And he says, from a cave inside a mountain or a peasant's hovel? Let's be serious. Osama inspires countless millions by standing up for Islam against American and Israel imperialism. He doesn't have the means for such a sophisticated operation. Not only that, in the same article here, this is UPI.com. This is actually a source Wikipedia left.
No, I know Gul said that. And he pointed out they killed Benazir Bhutto and the rest of it. No, he's a super heavy hitter. That's why I wish.
And another thing, he said that Osama bin Laden's English was impeccable. I mean, he's been to universities and says he's impeccable, but yeah, he's got these CIA videos where we're being told what he's telling all of us and how.
Oh no, his CIA code name was Tim Osman. That's on record. No, it's all staged. The killing of bin Laden, it's all staged. It's all fake.
Okay, and another thing is, just to also throw this in there, I did make the video "The Dark Tyrant Rises." I don't know if you actually got to see that or not, but for the Stop Dictator Obama contest, Akon for a while was my YouTube name.
Well, great job, bro. I'm gonna jump real quick to get one more person in. Thank you, Alexis in New York, first time caller. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hi. I recently came across a documentary by Aaron Russo. He used to be a famous director in the 90s. He died of, quote unquote, cancer.
Yes, America, Freedom to Fascism.
Yeah, and he couldn't find a law that requires the average American to pay an income tax. I heard you earlier talking about how they're targeting, certain groups on income taxes. Well,
no. The billionaires don't pay any taxes on average. I mean, it's all a giant scam. It's all a complete fraud.
Yeah, and I was wondering if maybe, you'd like to attend a protest that I'm trying to put together on the first weekend in August in D.C. To, protest against it because they need to stop. They can't keep doing this.
Well, ma'am, I hear you, and I appreciate your call. I probably won't be able to attend that, but I have been for 18 years exposing that the IRS is a collection agency for the private Federal Reserve and is designed to siphon off our money and bankrupt the country. Lindsay, last caller, real fast. Thanks for holding from Washington. Go ahead and take us out.
Hey, Alex, first-time caller, and I just was wanted to let you know I'm completely savvy with what you have at risk, and I wanted to thank you very much. And what I wanted to talk to you about was the new Kinect for the Microsoft.
Yeah, that scans your whole house and watches you and tracks you, yeah.
Yeah, well, Dr. Ron Paul said he had concerns about Snowden getting hit with a cruise missile or a drone attack. This new Kinect, to me, looks like something where they can track you, and if they don't like what you say or deem you a threat to America, they use that as a drone strike against Americans.
Well, they don't have to do that. They just give you vaccines and you die anyways. Or you drink fluoride and you become mentally retarded. But no, I mean, the Kinect is an Imperial probe droid robot literally watching you in your house. I mean, that's a fact. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by